Okay, starting the broadcast in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Hello and welcome to Red Pride Stadium on the campus of Plainfield High School. I'm Steve McAtee and I'll be bringing you all the action as your Plainfield Quakers challenge the Harrison Raiders in week 2 of the Indiana High School football season. Well, last week, your Quakers had a very promising start to the season as they visited the Terre Haute South Braves. As was the case in their previous two games against Terre Haute South, Plainfield had a shaky and concerning first quarter before coming alive in the second quarter and going on to win. The most striking thing about Plainfield's performance was that it's clear that this team's offense is going to be radically different than last year's. After having a rush pass ratio of 4.7 to 1 last year, nearly quadrupling the 1.2 to 1 ratio of the year before, the Quakers actually passed more than they rushed against the Braves, 28-26. Starting his second season as starting quarterback, junior Bryce Sabank went a long way from being the game manager that he was last year to being the offensive focal point that Plainfield has had on most of its teams starting in 2013. Sabank completed 20 of 28 passes, a stellar 71.4% for 236 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And get this, those 236 yards are 42% as much as he threw for in all 11 games combined last season, while the 3 touchdown passes are 60% as many as he threw for in those 11 games. And making it even more encouraging is that he completed passes to 7 different receivers. Junior Xander Nadam led the way with 7 receptions for 77. Junior Xander Nadam led the way with 7 receptions for 72 yards and a touchdown. Sophomore Cohen Vanderbush had 5 for 71, including 3 on a late second quarter drive that gave the Quakers a commanding 19-0 lead. Our senior running back Luke Starnes had 1 reception for 41 yards and a touchdown. Senior Mason Beards had 3 for 31, and sophomore Austin Ward had 2 for 17 and a touchdown. Their dramatically improved passing offense was such a great surprise that it overshadowed another great game by aforementioned star senior running back Luke Starnes. The 3-year starter rushed 21 times for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, the Quakers played very well on defense for most of the game as Terre Haute South experimented with 2 quarterbacks and looked offensively out of sync for the first 2.5 quarters under new head coach Greg Barrett. Other than the slow start, the only major blotch for Plainfield was scoring only 1 conversion point on their 5 touchdowns. Two of them failed because of bad snaps, while Starnes was tackled on a 2-point conversion attempt, and junior kicker Ethan Edwards went 1 for 2 on PATs. Tonight in their home opener, the Quakers go for their 3rd consecutive 2-0 start as they played the arch rival Harrison Raiders for the 6th time in the last 4 seasons. Harrison also enters the game at 1-0 after a 28-21 home win over cross-county rival West Lafayette. So head coach Terry Peebles unexpectedly resigned during the offseason after a very successful 11-year run. Harrison seems to have remained on a steady path under new head coach Kyle Holderfield, who was their offensive coordinator for the last 4 years and an assistant coach of the program for 9 years overall. And also helping is that the team is very senior dominated. In last Friday's opener, senior quarterback Landon Mikoloff completed 21 of 26 passes, an outstanding 80.8% for 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. His leading receiver by far was senior Channing Glick, who had an extraordinary game with 11 receptions for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. In addition, sophomore Zion Clopton had 4 receptions for 24 yards. Junior Sullivan Garrett had 3 for 24, and senior Quinn Clary had 2 for 21. On the ground, senior Jack Gonzalez rushed 11 times for 118 yards and a touchdown, while aforementioned senior quarterback Landon Mikoloff rushed 7 times for 27 yards. Junior Gage Lyons went 4 for 17, and senior Isaac Soldati went 2 for 8. Head coach for Plainfield is Tyler Bless, who's 16-6 in his 3rd season with the Quakers. Head coach for Harrison is Kyle Holderfield, who's 1-0 in his 1st season with the Raiders. Well, at this time, we'll take a short break for a few words from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with the opening kickoff. Plainfield Harrison coming at you live under the Friday Night Lights. Next. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to thank them, and we hope you will support them. They are Rigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Ganell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Record Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones Chris Houskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the home opener, game 2 overall, game 1 at home. We've got an absolutely gorgeous evening. It's 73 degrees, about a perfect temperature for football under a mostly clear sky. We've got a great crowd on this Labor Day weekend. The home bleachers are nearly full. I'd say about 90% full. I think we have between 2,000 and 2,500 Quaker fans over here. And then across the field in the visiting bleachers, we have about 100 Harrison fans who've made a very long road trip here. 80 miles from Tippecanoe County. Harrison is located in rural Tippecanoe County, just about 5 minutes from the Purdue campus. And in fact, often when I'm up there at Harrison, which has been 4 times over the last 4 seasons, my son Liam, I drop him off at Purdue University, so he films elevators for his YouTube channel, Elevator Dude. And just like last week, he did so at Indiana State while I was 3 miles away at Terre Haute South. Liam actually filmed 16 elevators last week while I was commentating the Quakers win. But now Liam's sitting beside me in the press box, and I just feasted on some Donato's pizza. That was graciously provided to us by the fine Plainfield staff here. Now, Plainfield will be receiving the opening kickoff. Sorry, didn't get to go through all the details I wanted to before the game. We did have some technical difficulties, but they're taken care of now. Hopefully, they will not come back. Plainfield only had one kickoff return last week. That was 22 yards by Ty White. Kicking off for the Raiders is Aiden Robles. He is a junior. It's a deep kick. It's going to be close to a touchback, and it's fielded. Yeah, it is a touchback. He fielded it about 1 yard inside. Ty White tried to run it out, but it was whistled dead. So Plainfield will start on offense with 12 full minutes to go here in the first quarter. Both of these teams enter the game at 1-1. This is the 7th meeting between these two schools in football, and the 6th in the last 4 seasons. This has been an annual regular season series since 2022. Also, the 2 teams met in the playoffs the first 2 of those years. So now the Quakers line up a very aggressive formation, 2 receivers to each side. Darns the running back, low snap to Savant, but he gets it. Got plenty of time. Thinks about running. Then he finds a man open, and it is Xander Nadam who catches it for the first down. He catches it on the ground after picking up about 12 yards. So good start to the game for the Quakers. Nadam, very pleasant surprise last week. The junior, 7 receptions for 72 yards and a touchdown. So it looks like he's going to be very involved in the offense in this game as well. So now a handoff to Starnes, gets his first carry of the game, dodges a tackler, and he's up for about 2. Starnes actually, he got 103 yards last week on 20 carries, but he only had 1 or 2 explosive gains. One of them being his 34-yard touchdown that opened the scoring during the second quarter and started the Quakers on their roll. He gets credit for 2 there. Luke Starnes, senior, 3-year starter. Very hot college prospect. So now 3 receivers to the right. And now threw it into double coverage, but he got a reception possibly for the first down. Let's see where they mark him. That was Austin Ward, a very promising sophomore. I had a couple of big plays this week, including a touchdown. They give him credit for 7, so it's 1 short of the first down. So Starnes has completed his first 2 for 19. So now I give it to Starnes. He's got through with left side. He's got the first down, and he's tripped up. He went about as far left as he could, and he only got about a yard, but he did get the first down. So Starnes 2 for 3 to start off. Luke Starnes nearly 3,000 all-purpose yards in his illustrious career with the Quakers that he's hoping to cap off with a long postseason long postseason runs. Now 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Starnes still in there, running back. Bonk in shotgun, takes it, gives it to Starnes. Gets through a hole, breaks a tackle, and gets up close to a first down. So Starnes, his third carry in the first 2.5 minutes of the game, and they're going to give him credit for looks like 8 there, 9. The Starnes 3 for 12. The Quakers already into Raider territory. So now Beers and Nadam go out to the left. And now we got 2 running backs there. And now up the middle to Beers, and it is nearly intercepted and nearly caught by Beers, but falls to the run incomplete. So the first incompletion of the game. Sabonk's first 2 were completed for 19 yards. 9:18 to go now, and clock stops. So now the Quakers break huddle. Beers and Nadam go out to the right. Starnes in the backfield. Sabonk in shotgun. 3rd and 1. Handoff now, and he's got the first down and more. And he gets up to about the 40. That's a gain of about 8 there. That's Corin McGill. Good to see him getting into the action. He had 2 carries for 11 yards last week. So McGill hoping for a big junior season. He showed some promise with a 33-yard touchdown rush last year against Anderson. I'm sorry, McGill's a senior. Pardon me there. But anyway, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Screen pass now is complete to Ward, and he gets up for about 2. So Sabonk completed 3 of his first 4, and Ward gets his second reception. This one only goes for a yard. His first one went for 7. So the Quakers now 2nd and 9 at the Harrison 39. And now we've got and now Plainfield. Apparently, there's some confusion about some confusion about the formation. So they took an early timeout with 8:13 to go, a little earlier than you would want to take a timeout. You have to ideally save them for the last drive of the half. But I understand they got momentum going. They want to strike first blood here and make Harrison play from behind, and they want to make sure they don't squander this drive with a penalty or some kind of miscommunication on this play. But anyway, I think one reason why Plainfield had so much success passing last week, I think Terre Haute had remembered that we barely passed against them last year, and they were prepared for that. For us to rush, and they were not prepared for us to throw so much, especially to so many different receivers. Like I said, it's Starnes last week, 20 receptions, 7 receivers. So now you can bet that Harrison will be ready. So hopefully we will still do well on through the air. So now and now he tries to hit Beard. It would have gone for a first down, but it was a little too high. 3 for 5. Sabonk having passed 5 times in the first 4 minutes of this game. 8:08 to go. Still no score. Game 2 of the season. This is Labor Day weekend here in the lovely community of Plainfield. Well, it's Labor Day weekend everywhere in America, but we're coming at you from the lovely community of Plainfield in the West Indianapolis suburbs. So now 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Starnes the running back. And now Starnes gets it, and he gets up for about 5, so it's going to be 4th down and about 4. Starnes with his 4th carry in the first 4 minutes of this game. He's 4 for 17 now. Teams, obviously, defenses are geared to stop him. They know that they know about his sophomore and especially junior seasons, where he was an absolute terror. So now 4th and 4, the Quakers are going for it. Beers and Nadam line up out to the right, as does got another receiver in the game, Cooper Isles. He is a sophomore. And now we got another. And now Plainfield is another timeout. I know Coach Bless did not want to take two timeouts in the first 5 minutes of this game. So after taking two, hopefully it will pay off with a touchdown. The Quakers have moved the ball well on this drive, but they haven't had any dominant gains so far. Harrison has prevented the big play. Even though Starnes did have 103 yards on the ground and two touchdowns last week, he averaged just a little over 500, over 5 yards a carry, which is a little. I think he did well over six last year, and it was like Terre Haute South was geared to contain him, but they weren't geared to contain anything else on our offense, and that's why we were able to cruise to an easy win. Not to mention their offensive problems. So, three receivers to the right, one to the left. Starnes in there at running back. Now Nadam shifts um, right to left. Now a screen pass, and it is caught for the first down, and he's brought down about a yard beyond that. So now that was Devin D'Amato there on the reception, his first reception of the season. Picks up 5. Starnes has completed 4 of 6 now. Two receivers to the right now. Handoff. No, um, so fakes the handoff, and Sabank with a keeper for 3 or 4, his first keeper of the game. So 2nd and 7 after 3 yards by Sabank. Now a handoff there to Starnes. Spins around a tackle, gets inside the 20, gets past the 15, knocked out of bounds. So that's a gain of about 12 for Starnes, his longest gain of the evening. So they give Starnes credit for 11. They're making him 5 for 28 to start off here in the first 6 minutes of this game. 1st and 10 at the 15. So Mason Beers out to the right, 3 receivers to the left. Starnes in the running back. Starnes the running back. The Quakers in the red zone for the first time. Sabank throws into the end zone, and it is incomplete, broken up. Nadam was the intended receiver, thrown into double coverage. Still made a heck of an effort at it. Sabank 4 for 7 here. Sabank's already thrown 7 passes. He threw 28 last week. So now we've got Ward and Beers lined up to the right, Nadam to the left. Starnes the running back. Sabank in shotgun. Got some movement at the line, but no flags so far. Quakers have it 2nd and 10 at the 15, 5:52 to go here in the first quarter, first possession of the game. Now handoff to Starnes. He's got some room up the middle, and he gets inside the 10 up to about the 9. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 4 or 5. They get 3rd and 4. So Starnes 6 for 34 to start off the game. So now Nadam, Beers, and Ward all lined up to the right. Starnes, the running back, takes the snap, throws in the end zone, and is nearly intercepted. It was dropped. Their defender just did not get a grip on it. So that'll bring up 4th and 5 at the 9. So decision time for the Quakers. This would be a 26-yard field goal. Ethan Edwards was 1 for 2 on extra points last week. Quakers looking to the sideline now. So they are going to go for it. Wouldn't be surprised if they took their 3rd time out here. So once again, Beers, Nadam, and Ward out to the right. Starnes, the running back, gives it to Starnes, and he runs around the right side, and he's going to be very close. I think he's a yard short. Yeah, he's a yard short. Shoot. Well, disappointing that we didn't get any yards. That we didn't get any points, but the Quakers did move the ball 74 yards, consumed over an eighth of the game. So the Raiders start in bad field position. So now let's just hold them 3-and-out, get the ball back in good field position, and finish the job next time. Starnes went 7 for 37 on that opening drive. Sabah passed 4 for 8 for 25 yards. So now the Raiders line up Landon Nikoloff, the senior, is their quarterback. One receiver at each side, one running back. Handoff. And we bring it down for a loss. All right. All right. That was Jack Gonzalez there. They give him credit for -1 there. So second and 11 for Harrison at their own 5. 4:42 to go. No score in the first quarter. Two receivers to each side now. Gonzalez, the running back. Nikoloff standing in shotgun at the end zone. And he's really tackled. And he gets the pass off. And he breaks the tackle. Takes out his man. Gets up to about the 20. That's a pass to Channing Glick, by far the team's leading receiver. Last week, he had an outstanding game. 11 receptions for 174 yards, picks up 17 there. First pass of the game for Harrison. So now the Raiders, two receivers to each side again. Gonzalez, the running back. Nikoloff in shotgun. 4:28 to go. And now takes the handoff, nearly sacks. Throws downfield, just a little overthrown. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Now we got a flag. Could be pass interference. Let's see, 4:23 to go. Jacob Schwartz was the intended receiver. Oh, it's going to be ineligible man downfield against Harrison. Okay, so break for us. Harrison's had similar offensive numbers to ours in week 1. They scored 28 points. We scored 31. Their quarterback threw for 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Our quarterback threw for 236 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Second down and 15 at the 17 for the Raiders, and now the official blows. And now, okay, back in motion here. Not sure what the brief delay was. So 3 receivers to the left. Gonzalez, the running back. Nikoloff in shotgun. No score yet. And now handoff there to Gonzalez, but they're right on top of him. He does plow forward, and he gets 2 or 3. Gonzalez went for -1 on his first. Gets 3 on that one, so he's now 2 for 2 in the game. 2nd and 12 now at the 20. The clock just passed the 4-minute mark, so we are a sixth of the way through this game with no score. 2 receivers to each side. Gonzalez, the running back. Nikoloff in shotgun. Most of the offensive starts for the and now we got some movement on the line and a flag with 3:46 to go here in the first quarter. Most of the offensive stars on the offsides on the Quakers, so 5 free yards, making it 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd and 12. The Quakers, I'm sorry, most of the Raiders offensive stars are seniors. The nucleus of the team that went 6-4 last year in Terry Peebles' final year. Peebles a very successful 11 years, in which he got the Raiders back on track after a long down stretch. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Gonzalez, the running back, and now we got another whistle. And Harrison takes a timeout. So first 9 minutes of this game, 3 of the 6 timeouts already taken, 2 by Plainfield, 1 by Harrison. I think the Raiders want to make sure they don't get in over their heads. I think what Plainfield's strategy, and I would have said this in the pregame if it wasn't so condensed, but what we have to do is get that early lead, make the Raiders play from behind, induce them to throw more than they want to. I mean, they throw a lot, but make them, um, largely abandon their rushing attack, which is what happened to us in the last three games of the 2023 season, and just make them throw more than they're comfortable doing, and put us in a position where all we have to do to win is take away the big play. It's easier said than done. The Raiders are a good team, but I think that if we can get that done, chances are we're going to, get out of here with a 2-0 start. So now, two receivers to the left, one to the right. Uh, Takes the handoff and keeper there by Nikoloff, and he gets up for about 5, so it's going to be third and short. That's going to be 5 yards there for Nikoloff on his first carry of the game. Very big 3rd and 2 now for the Raiders. 7:21 your time of day, a very fast paced game. It's now Glick lining up to the right, the only receiver there. Um, and now under center. Now the hand up there, and we stop him. We stop him. So it's going to be fourth down. Yes, beautifully telegraphed. 3 Quakers were right on top of Gonzalez. So for the second time in his 3 carries, we bring him down. Well, they're giving him no. They're marking him at the line of scrimmage, but so it's in two of his 3 carries, we stop him for no gain. All right. So the Quakers, barring an unlikely fake here, will get the ball back in pretty decent field position. Ty White back deep to receive for the Quakers. Last year as a freshman, 5 interceptions. Also had an interception last week. And now this year, our return man so far. And now bounces at 35, picks up on a hop at the 25. He's got to the 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40. And he breaks the tackle up and still on his feet. 30, 45, 20. Yes, he's cleared out of the way. Ty White, 75 yards for the touchdown. All right. He looked like he was down around the 35, but he plowed through like a battering ram, and the Quakers strike first blood with 144 to go here in the first quarter. All right. So the first score for the Quakers, well, the first score for anybody here at Red Pride Stadium here in 2025 is a dandy. A 75-yard touchdown, a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown by Ty White. Now the Quakers, only one conversion point on 5 touchdowns last week. That was the one blotch on their game. Ethan Edwards. I know it's a bad snap. Edwards picks it. He's going to try to run with it, but he is brought down for the loss. So the conversion woes continue, and that is something they're going to have to address, because they two of their failed conversions last week were also because of bad snaps. That's one thing we have to stop. Um, we can probably still win some games with it, but there are some teams that will make us pay for that. Nevertheless, overall, a good start to this game for your Quakers. They lead 6-0 following a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown by Ty White. I believe, I'll have to look this up. I believe that's the first special teams touchdown for the Quakers. Yeah, I believe that's the first special teams touchdown for the Quakers since, ironically, Labor Day weekend 2 years ago, although that was at Mooresville, when Hayden Vanderbush took in a kickoff return for the touchdown. And that was a particularly big play too, because Mooresville was trying to get back in the game. They just scored a touchdown, and that shattered their momentum, and we went on to cruise to a win. And that was also a very important win for us, because we entered that game on a 5-game losing streak to the Pioneers, tying the longest losing streak to them in the history of that rivalry, which goes to the beginning of the Mid-State Conference. In fact, that rivalry will continue next week at Mooresville, just 6 miles down the road. Hope you all will get out there for that one. And my son Liam is excited because 2 years ago, when the last time we were there, they were in the process of installing an elevator. So he's hoping it will be ready. We assume it will be. I don't think it usually takes 2 years to install an elevator. So um, anyway, we haven't seen too many press boxes with elevators, so he's always super excited when he sees one. So anyway, 144 to go. The kickoff now. It's fielded at about the 11, up to the 15, and now he brought down inside the 20. Last week in our debut, in our first minute of the season, Ethan Edwards kicked off. He was our kickoff man. He kicked off 6 times, had an average of 53.5 yards. Did not get a touchdown. Did not get a touchback. He came close on two of them. I think two of them went all the way down to the 2. So now the Raiders take over on offense again. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Nickel off in shotgun. Drops back, throws immediately. Glick has it, and he gets for close to a first down. Second time those two have connected in this game. No, I'm sorry, that was Clary. That was 5, not 6. I apologize. So they said he did get the first down, so they give him credit for an even 10. So Nikoloff has completed his first 2 passes for 27 yards. And now the ball comes loose. Does it count as a fumble? I couldn't tell if they're. I don't know if they're going to catch. I think they're counting it as a fumble. Or are they going to say? Yes, yes. I thought they might say that his arm was going forward and it was an incomplete pass, but yeah, they're counting as a touchdown. So the Quakers take over at the 25. So now if we get even a field goal here, um, this game will be firmly in our control. Although I think we've really got to go for the touchdown because based on our trouble on snaps on extra point attempts, even a chip shot would be too high risk at this point. So now handoff to Starnes, and he's right on top of him. He gets maybe 1. Starnes had 7 rushes for 37 yards on the first reception. Second and 9 now at the 24. So now it's a movement at the line, but no flags. 2 receivers now out to the left. Starnes, the running back. He's taken almost every carry this season. Starnes, and now Sabank, he's swarmed and he rushes it himself and he gets back to about the line of scrimmage, maybe a loss of 1. Under a minute now here in the first quarter. 7:28 your time of day. Sabank's first keeper was for 3 yards. That one for -1. So now Xander Nadam lines up to the left. No, he's moving to the right now, along with Austin Ward, Luke Starnes, the running back, and now Sabank's got time, throws, and miscommunication, and it's incomplete. So that'll bring up 4th and 10. Sabank 4 for 9 through the air with 25 yards to start off this game. He was 20 for 28 last week, excuse me, in the big win at Terre Haute South. So 4th and 10 now for the Quakers. 0 net yards since they took over after the fumble recovery. 4.1 seconds to go in the quarter, and I'll tell you, if Harrison gets out of this drive without giving up any points, they will be extremely lucky. So now 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Starnes in the backfield. DeBonk looks snap, and he gets it. throws it to the right side. It is complete for about 7 yards, but short of the first down. But so Harrison um, will take over on downs when we start the first quarter. So after one quarter of play here in the home opener for the Quakers on Labor Day weekend, your score Plainfield 6, Harrison 0. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Vanell Financial, Crow Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P, Chris Pearson, Sellis Jones, and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbrich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Record Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Houskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the second quarter of Game 2 of the season. Game 1 at home here on Labor Day weekend with your Plainfield Quakers leading the Harrison Raiders 6-0. It's been mostly a good game for the Quakers, but both offensive possessions, even though they got inside the Harrison 25, produced no points. Both ended up with turnovers on downs. The one score came on a 75-yard punt return by Ty White. Now to start off the second quarter, there's a rush over on the right side by Zion Clopton of Harrison. He is the third Raider to rush in this game. His name is like Eric Clapton, except an O instead of the A. First name Zion is in Mount Zion. He gets 2 on there. So now 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, 1 running back. And now dodges a sack. And Nikolov throws, and did he get the catch? Oh my God, that was an incredible catch and great coverage by, I believe that was Clary. So Clary with his second reception of the game. Nikolov has completed all 3 of his passes. That one for 25 yards. Clary's second reception of the game, the first from 10, that was from 25. So 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 1 running back, Nikolov in shotgun. The Raiders on the move. And now thinks about he looked like he was going to hand off, but then Nikolov took it up the middle for a couple of yards. His second keeper of the game. First went for 5. That one, well, they're saying he didn't gain anything, so I thought he gained a yard or 2. 2 receivers now to the right, 1 to the left. Clopton, the 1 to the left, is Gonzalez in the backfield. Nikolov takes the snap. He gets it completed to Clary, but they meet him right at midfield, and he's brought down real short of the first. So third reception there by Clary. That one's going to go for 4 yards. Clary 3 for 39 in this game. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right now. And now miscommunication there. Clopton was the intended receiver, so that'll bring up 4th and 6. So 4th and 6 at the 50. Looks like the Raiders are going to punt it. And my guess is that they might try to punt out of bounds or try to get a touchback because they do not want they do not want Ty White to get another shot at it. But I'll tell you, Ty White, only a sophomore. You can only imagine what kind of resume he's going to have by the time he's a senior, and the fact that I'll hold that thought. Now the punt bounces around the 30, and now it takes a long Harrison bounce inside the 10, and they down it. So White is not going to shot at this one. So the Quakers will start over in weak field position. So the Quakers get inside the Raider 25. The first two possessions come away with no points, 2 turnovers on downs, and of course, one thing. Apparently, they're not going to have the luxury to go for a lot of field goals this year, even from close range. Hopefully, that will change as the season goes on. But right now, it looks like they're going to have to get a touchdown anytime they win some points. So you just got to work with what you have and keep on trying to improve. So 2 receivers to each side. Starnes the running back. Starnes gets it. He's got some room. He's got a hole up to 15, 20. Breaks the tackle, spins around. He's still on his feet past the 25. So a gain of nearly 20 for Luke Starnes. His 9th carry of this young game. Moves it from the 7 to about the 26. Yeah. So Starnes 9 of 57. And now hand off to Starnes again. Why not? Past the 30, 35, spins around, past the 40. So 2 double-digit gains in a row for Starnes, now with 10. And he picks up 15 there. So 10 for 72. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Give it to Starnes again. And this time, not as much, but he gets up for 2 or 3. All right. So let me catch my breath here. 8:46 to go. They give Starnes credit for 2 on that one. I have him 11 for 74. The receivers now to the right, 1 to the left. 2 running backs now. Sabonk, hands off. And no, he takes it himself. And he's past the 40. So excellent job by Bryce Sabonk. He faked me out. That was a Scott Amore caliber fake, and he picks up 16 there on so now 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Hands off to Starnes again. This time they're right on top of him, and he gets his way. He looked like he might be brought down for a loss. I think he got it for 1. Let's see what they give Starnes on that one. They give Starnes credit for 1. I have him 12 for 75. So now 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Starnes the running back. And now screen pass over to Nadam. He's got it at the 40, up to the 35, close to the first down. Nadam there with his 2nd reception of the game. He had 7 last week to open the season, including a touchdown. He got the 2nd of our 5 touchdowns. The one that gave us a multiple possession lead to stay. Give him credit for 6 on that one. So now 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Handoff this time. Got a new running back in there. That was McCall again with his 2nd of the game. So a gain of about 4 there for Corin McCall, excuse me, Corin. I have him 2 for 12. He was 2 for 11 last week. So now we've got Ward and Beers out to the left, Nadam to the right. 1 running back there. Now fakes the handoff. Sabak throws down. He's got a man open in the end zone. We got a flag. It's incomplete, but let's see what the flag's about. 6:27 to go here. Nadam was the intended receiver there. Xander Nadam. He is a 6 feet 151 junior. So defensive holding. So it's going to go against the Raiders. So the Quakers have a first down at the 20. So on all three offensive possessions, the Quakers got inside the Raider 25. First two, they came away with they turned it over at the 6 and at the 25. Hopefully they'll break through, get that first offensive score of the game. So three receivers to the right, one to the left, one running back to Bonk in shotgun. Handoff to fakes the handoff. Now Sabonk's got some room himself inside the 15, up to about the 10. I think they're going to give him the first down. So Sabonk with his second double-digit keeper of this drive. No, they said he was a yard short. Excuse me. Nevertheless, 9 yards, 4 for 27 on the ground for Bryce Sabonk, second and 1 at the 11 now for the Quakers. 6:03 to go here in the second quarter. Game 2 of the regular season out of 9. Game 1 of 5 at home. So now Beards to the right, two receivers to the left. Starnes, the running back, he gets the handoff and he gets up for about 4. So it will push down inside the 10 for the Quakers. Starnes, 13 carries at all. 13 carries. 13 carries, 78 yards, and even 6 a carry. So now Nadam and Ward out to the left, Beers out to the right. Starnes, the running back, now fakes it and throws in the end zone, and it's broken up. Going for the touchdown there, trying to hit. I believe that he was intended for D'Amato. So second and goal now at the 8. Sabonk 6 of 12 by my count, 38 yards he's completed. Passes to 4 different receivers. Completed passes to 7 last week. Also 3 Quakers have rushed tonight. So Beers to the right, Adam to the left, Holm and Starnes in the backfield. Handoff to Starnes. Gets it, goes right, then goes left again inside the 5. It's going to be third and goal at about the 4. Five by Starnes. I have him 14 for 83. Third and goal at the 3. 5:04 to go. Harrison gets the ball first to start the second half. 7:42 your time of day. Nadam out to the right along with Beers. So now Starnes and now hands up there to McCall, and he's brought down. So it's going to be a very critical fourth down for the Quakers. McCall with his third carry of the game. And they brought it up for 4. I didn't think the spot would be that bad. He got 12 on his first 2, but a negative there. So the Quakers likely will go for this, lacking much of a kicking game. That's something I hope they will improve for this season. It'll give them a lot more options in critical situations. So now McCall and Starnes in the backfield, bunch formation, and now Sabonk throws out to McCall. He's catch, but he trips. Did he get into the end zone? I don't think he did. I think he's going to be a yard or 2 short. Oh no. Well, so Corin McGill there. He might have had a touchdown, but he tripped. Poor guy. Gordon McGill paid his dues the last couple of years, and I'm really hoping he'll emerge as a strong number 2 backup this year behind Starnes. We really need that second running back. So now the Raiders first they take over at their own 2. One receiver to the left, and now got to rush up the middle for about 4. That was Glick with his first That was Glick on with the first rush. They give him credit for 3. The 2nd and 7 for the 5. And now he's stopped him. We got a. Let's see. I heard somebody say we have a flag, but I do not see one. Oh, okay. It's on the far side of the field. There's a guy standing in front of it, obscuring my view. So let's see what this is all about. Oh no, personal foul against the Quakers. Just gave him 15 free yards. That is not good. Only 3:22 to go in the half, so it very well could be harmless. But yeah, when you only have a 6-0 lead, you don't want to give away um, any yards, let alone 15. So 3:22 to go here in the second quarter. In this home opener on Labor Day weekend, your Plainfield Quakers ranked 8th in the state in both the AP and USA Today polls. 9 in the IFCA poll. Right now, They lead Harrison. They lead Harrison 6-0, 3:17 to go in the second quarter. Harrison has the ball, 1st and 10 to throw in 22, and we got a flag play whistle dead. So let's see what it is. Ball start against Harrison. So they just gave back 5 of the 15 yards that we gave them. Still got quite a bit of blue sky here. My observation from 14 years of commentating high school football, we lose about 10 minutes a week. The sun sets about 10 minutes earlier. Finally, by the time the playoffs start, it'll be dark by the time the game starts. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Um, and now Nikoloff throws downfield, and there was nearly an acrobatic catch made, but no good. So it's going to bring up 2nd and 15. That was Nikoloff's. First incompletion after completing his first 4 for 56 yards. 2:55 to go now. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. And now Nikoloff nearly sacked, dodges it, throws deep, and it is. And now I think they're going to get white for pass interference. The intended receiver there was Jacob Schwartz. White deflected the pass, but I think he did also put a hand on the guy. I try to call it as I see it. There was some boos here, but I think it was the right call. You know, I have no credibility if I don't call it both ways. I'm a Quakers fan. Obviously, I always want the Quakers to win, but you know, when I believe they've committed a penalty, I'll say it. So now, 1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 32, 2:48 to go. They have 2 timeouts left. Plainfield 1. Now Nikoloff throws deep under. He makes the catch, and White brings him down. He makes the catch inside the 40. That was Jack Gonzalez. That's going to be about a 30-yard pickup there. 31. So Nikoloff, a very good start. 5 for 6 in this game, 87 yards. That one, 31 yards to Jack Gonzalez. So now the Raiders 1st and 10 at the Plainfield 37. Now a short pass there to Schwartz, and that's going to be for. And now we've got a flag though. Oh, it's going to be holding against. So it's going to be coming back. Good break for the Quakers with 2:20 to go here. Well, I thought Plainfield would be. I thought they'd be at least 2 possessions ahead right now, but I give Harrison a lot of credit. They came to play today. They came in with a solid game plan that's been fairly effective. And of course, the Quakers haven't helped themselves with 3 turnovers on downs. And now Throws deep, and this one's overthrown. Schwartz, the intended receiver. Only the second incompletion for Nikoloff. He's 5 for 7 for 87 yards. He's completed passes to three receivers. Quinn Clary has three, and then one each for Glick and Gonzalez. So now three receivers out to the right, one to the left. Second and 19 for the Raiders at the Plainfield 47. And now screen pass there, and it is it's going to get up for. He gets Glick for about 5, but it's going to be a third and very long. Glick's second reception of the game, they give him 5 on that. 6 for 8 through the air for 92 yards for Nikoloff. Third and 14 now at the Plainfield 42 for Harrison. 1:33 to go here in the second quarter. Plainfield 6, Harrison 0. So now Nikoloff takes it, throws deep, and it's going to be, yeah, he threw it into great coverage. Not really, in my opinion, a very well advised throw, and that's going to bring up 4th and 14. So it looks like the Quakers are likely going to dodge a bullet here and get into the locker room with a lead. Which is especially important because Harrison does get the ball first to start the second half, and so now the Raiders apparently going to punt here, barring a fake. Ty White standing at Plainfield 5, awaiting the punt. He has the only points of this game, a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown with 1:44 to go. Now high snap, but he gets it, the punt, and now White takes the fair catch at the 11, matching his uniform number. So with 1:15 to go, Plainfield takes over with one timeout. And this is a time you really wish you could have those 2 timeouts back that we used on the first drive, in which we ended up turning it over on downs at the 6. Plainfield has turned it over on downs in this game um, at the 6, at the 24, and at the 2. They should be way ahead by now. So two receivers to each side now. Starnes the running back. Sabank the quarterback. And now screen pass to Starnes. He's past the 25, 30, no, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40. All right. By a gain of about 50 yards there by Luke Starnes, and that's the kind of play we needed. All right. So 1:03 to go. Now let's just, finish this drive, boys. Oh, no. It's coming back. I'm sorry I missed that flag. It's the way they're in the backfield, and so, oh man, what a bummer. Well, we still got the lead, still first down. We just got to try to get something going here. And there are teams probably that in this situation would just run out the clock. But the thing is, with Harrison having 2 timeouts, they could just stop it and you know try to force a punt where they would get the ball probably around midfield. So 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Starnes the running back. First and 15 for the Quakers at their own 6. 1:03 to go. They have 1 timeout, 6-0 lead in the second quarter. So screen pass, and he's going to be up for about 4 or 5. I believe that was Vanderbush there with his first reception of the game. Cohen Vanderbush. And now they give him credit for 8 on that one. A screen pass to Starnes, and he tries to get out of bounds, but he doesn't succeed. He's going to get up to the 20s. It's just short of the first down. I think the Quakers had just used their last time out here. But there's a flag, so let's see what that's all about. By the way, Vanderbush was the fifth Quaker to catch a pass tonight. So let's see. I'm going to mark it at the. It's against Harrison. And now the Quakers take it, and it throws up the middle, and it's Adams got it for the first down out past the 40. The clock will stop to move the chains. So that's a 12-yard gain there. And now Sabak thinks about throwing deep. Now he's going to run with it, and he gets out of bounds around the 45. A pick of about 16.5 seconds to go. Well, 2nd and 6 now for the Quakers at the 45. Three receivers to the right, one to the three receivers to the left, one to the right. Sabak now throws deep, and I think there's going to be pass interference against Harrison. Pretty obvious. I think there were 3 flags. So 11.2 seconds to go here, and it's okay holding. Nevertheless, it will be a first down for the Quakers. Only 11.2 seconds to go. They still have that. I thought they'd use the timeout after the short pass to Starnes. So now the Quakers first and 10 at their own 45 at the Harrison 45, and now a bullet pass, and that's going to be up for 20 yards. The clock will stop with 5 points. Yeah, that was to Nadam for 20. And Plainfield takes their last time out at the 25. So Nadam with another 20 yards there. He's definitely the most pleasant surprise of this season so far for the Quakers. So when we come back, your Plainfield Quakers will have the ball 1st and 10 at the 25. At the Harrison 25, leading 6-0. This is the 4th time in the game that Plainfield has gotten as far as the Harrison 25. The first 3 times they turned it over on downs. Now, likely the last play of the quarter. Maybe time for 2 plays. We'll see. Well, 3 receivers now to the left. Garns the running back. DeBonk drops back, throws into the end zone, and it is incomplete. Incomplete. So a very tense first half. It's going to be a very tense halftime. Your Plainfield Quakers, they are in the lead, but they've squandered a lot of opportunities and have only scored 6 points. Your score, Plainfield 6, Harrison 0. We'll be back with the first half recap and a lot of other stuff after these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers High School is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to thank them, and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog and New Wave Solutions, Grinnell Financial, Own Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P, Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones of the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Record Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, um, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Houskins, Ellison Associates, and BGW Construction and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Back here at Plainfield, we're at halftime in game 2 of the season, and the hope for the Quakers. Um, it's a beautiful evening. We had 73 degrees right before kickoff. Um, still a lot of blue in the sky, though they just turned the lights on. Um, we've got almost completely packed bleachers here on the Plainfield side of the field, and a few hundred in the standing room as well. In addition to a good contingency, probably um, over 100 Harrison fans, which is a good crowd considering the 80-mile road trip from Tippecanoe County near West Lafayette. But unfortunately, it's a game in which right now your Quakers, though they do have the lead, they're barely hanging on. Your score is 6-0. Plainfield has had possession of the ball 4 times. Each time they've gotten it at least as far as the um, Harrison 25. First 3 times they turned it over on downs at the 6, at the 24, and at the 2. Then the last time on the last play, Bryce Sabonk threw a pass into the end zone. The only score in the game, making this one of the shortest scoring recaps I've ever done. After after Plainfield turned it over on downs on the first possession of the game, and then Harrison punted on their first possession. Ty White took it in 75 yards for a touchdown. However, the conversion failed because of an unfortunately newly familiar problem. Last week, 2 of our 5 conversion attempts failed because of bad snaps, and this one did as well. Um, so obviously, that is something for that the Quakers are going to have to work on. And then finishing drives the other thing they need to work on. Although they have done a lot of good things here, um, so there is a lot of reason for hope. Certainly, it's nothing that people should be panicking about. This is only game 2, but obviously, you know, um, there are things that are concerning here, and I was hopeful that by now we would be comfortably ahead. As it is now, looks like we're gonna have to really sweat it out in the second half to get this win today. But wins like this can make us better for the long term. I'll look at the individual statistics first of all for Plainfield. Bryce Savant, a decent follow up to last week's breakthrough game. Um, the junior and second year starter is completed by my count 11 of 18 passes for 90 yards, no touchdowns and no interceptions. Um, and on the is leading receiver for the second consecutive game, Xander Nadam, who I have 4 receptions for 50 yards. Um, Austin Ward's 2 for 8, and then 5 other receivers with 1 apiece. Devin D'Amato 1 for 5, Mason Beers 1 for 7. Um, um, Corin McCall Corin McCall 1 for 5, Cohen Vanderbush 1 for 8, and Luke Starnes 1 for 5. On the ground, Luke Starnes 14 for 83. Um, Corin McCall 3 for 8, and Bryce Sabak 4 for 27. Meanwhile, for Harrison, Landon Nikoloff has completed 6 of 9 passes for 92 yards. Uh, Quinn Clary has 3 receptions for 39 yards. Channing Glick 2 for 22, and Jack Gonzalez 1 for 31. On the ground, not much to report at all. The Quakers have done an excellent job on rushing defense. Um, Landon Nikoloff leads the way with 2 for 5, followed by Zion Clopton with 1 for 2, Jack Gonzalez 3 for 2, and Channing Glick 1 for 3. So anyway, um, with 9:56 to go here on the pregame clock. You know, last week the Quakers, played a shaky first quarter, then came on and mostly played ball for the rest of the game. Like I said, I give them a B for the game last week. I give them an A minus for the last three quarters. Um, Today, I give them a B minus for the first half. Most of what they've done has been good. They just have not finished drives, and that's the main thing. And if they just finish drives in the second half, they're going to get out of here with the win. Um, they played excellent rushing defense. They played solid passing defense for the most part. They've taken away the big play, um, and as many passes as um, Harrison is likely to end up throwing if they continue to get behind. That dramatically increases the chances that we're going to get an interception. And and even though we have not finished drives, one thing that we have done, we have generally used a lot of time on our drives, so to at least keep their offense off the field. So um, a lot to like, a lot to like. Um, so I'm staying optimistic, but definitely I want to see a better second half than first half. Um, and if we do that, we're going to get out here with a win. Um, Harrison is a solid team, but they're not a great team. Certainly, they're very beatable. Um, and you know, I'll tell you, I don't know if this series is going to be continued or not. This is the fourth consecutive year of this series between Plainfield and Harrison. Prior to that, they had only played in the opening round of the 1992 playoffs, a 35-14 win for the Raiders at Harrison. That year, Harrison went on to win so far the only state championship in program history. That was in Class 4A. And then 3 years ago, when head coach Brian Woodard was going into his farewell season, he said he did not want to take the series against the Raiders because of the approximately 80 miles between the two schools, um, which is almost what it is between Terre Haute South, our week one opponent, for the last 3 years. Um, but Coach Woodard said that if they did not agree to the series, there was a chance that they would not find a week two opponent. And obviously, you don't want that to happen. So he reluctantly took the series and unaware of the monster that he was creating. And I mean that in an affectionate way, because for two schools that had never that had only played once before and that are 80 miles apart, this has turned into a heck of a rivalry. 2 years ago, 3 years ago in the regular season, we went up to Harrison, um, lost 22-14 when a Hail Mary pass from Hunter Newell was intercepted in the end zone. Then um, we came back just 9 weeks later in the playoffs in the first round and turned the tables with a spectacular 35-28 win. And, it's a game that was part of that magic carpet ride that brought Coach Woodard his much deserved first and only sectional championship in his 17th and final season as head coach after going 0-6 previously in sectional championship games. The Quakers looked down and out with 6 minutes to go when they had it 4th and 18 at the Harrison 39, but then Newell threw deep to Grant Irwin for the touchdown. That tied it at 28 then on Harrison's ensuing possession. Um, a fumble was returned for a touchdown by our ironically named Harrison Herbeck. So Harrison beat Harrison. That made it 35-28. And then on Harrison's ensuing possession, they fumbled and we ran out the clock from there. And gosh, I remember sitting there in the press box, how awkward it was with me going crazy while everybody else in the press box was just devastated. And then I remember the assistant coaches coming down from the roof of the press box, and I could just tell by their demeanor that they knew that they had thrown the game away. I mean, we did make a couple of great plays, but they also contributed to their own demise in that game. And then um, 2 years ago, the Raiders visited Plainfield for the first time with a real thriller. The Raiders jumped out to a 14-0 lead before Plainfield came to win 15-14 with a 2-point conversion being the difference in the final score. Um, However, then when we met again in the playoffs again at Harrison, um, by that time, Plainfield had fallen from their 6-1 start. We had lost our last two games to close out the regular season to Whiteland and Martinsville, who had figured out how to beat us. And Harrison's game plan was like a hybrid of um, what Whiteland and Martinsville had done to us. They rushed against us a lot. We had a shaky rushing defense that year that kept our offense off the field, made us play from behind, made us throw more passes than we want to, contain and basically neutralized our rushing offense. And the Raiders in that game cruised to a 39-13 victory. Um, then Harrison, because of enrollment gains, moved up last year to Class 6A. So we could not play them in the playoffs, but we did play them in the regular season, and that was quite an adventure. I remember we drove up there on Friday night. That was Labor Day weekend too. Usually Labor Day weekend is week 3 when we play um, Mooresville, like we will next week. But that year, the last 2 years, it's been here week 2 against Harrison, and um, I drove up there on Wednesday. I drove up there on Friday after work, and then a thunderstorm started, very quickly afterward, and after about 40 minutes, and I went on the air, by the way, stayed on the air for about 40 minutes, and then finally it was announced the game would be played, I think, at 12 p.m. the next day, or maybe 11 a.m. I'll have to go check. But anyway, so my son Liam and I drove back home. I picked him up at Purdue and took him back home. He was happy because he got to go to Purdue and see all the elevators 2 days in a row. So he was in his glee. But I was agonized from having to take that road trip, that 160-mile road trip twice in 16 hours. And I felt bad for the kids for having to do it. But I was glad that we even got a game because, um, there were a heck of a lot of games. I think a few dozen that ended up started and never completed. And I remember Coach Les saying on his show the next day what an ordeal it was to be able to to play the game. It's not just a matter of agreeing when they're going to play; it's a matter of finding officials. And one thing they did was they canceled the JV and freshman games that were scheduled here at Plainfield for the next day, and so they used some, if not all, of those officials up to do the varsity game. And about 50 Quakers fans made the trip that second day. About 500 Harrison fans showed up. They did not even take tickets, so anybody off the streets could walk in. And for the first 3 quarters, Quakers played like they were groggy, which I'm sure they were after those 2 road trips. Too bad there wasn't a hotel they could have stayed at up in Tippecanoe County. But finally, in the fourth quarter, they came alive. They turned a 9-7 deficit into a 24-9 win. And I'll tell you, I was so proud of the kids, and I was so proud of the fans who made the trip the second day. If I were a rich man, I would have, and I mean this with all my heart, I would have gone over there and personally taken all of them out for pizza after the game to thank them and to celebrate the big Quakers win. I mean, even if I had the money, if I had the money, I would have done that even if we lost, because that kind of dedication deserves it. And had we lost the game, there would have been mitigating circumstances. But I was so proud of the way the kids rose to the occasion. They were down 9-7 going into the fourth quarter, and then closed off with that 17-0 run that really, you know, kept our momentum going from the week 1 win over Terre Haute South. And so anyway, right now, with 44 seconds on the pregame on the halftime clock, let's take a short pause. Hear from our sponsors again. Hear from our sponsors again, and then we'll be back with the second half. Your score here on audiosportsonline.com: Plainfield 6, Harrison 0. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football and audiosportsonline.com is made possible by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to thank them and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Gunnell Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Sell with Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Burbridge, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Houskins, Ellison Associates, BGW Construction, and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're getting ready to start the second half of this home opener for the Quakers. They're playing the newfound arch rival Harrison Raiders. Both teams entering this game at 1-0. Plainfield last week on the road got a big 31-7 win over Terre Haute South. Meanwhile, Harrison at home beat cross county rival West Lafayette 28-21. And right now, before we start the second half, let's take a look at what the other Hendricks County teams are up to. Starting in Class 6A, last year's state champion Brownsburg Bulldogs, currently number one ranked in Class 6A. They got off to a great start in their effort to repeat as champions with a home win over Archbishop Spalding, a school from Maryland. They actually have won a state championship in Maryland the last 3 years. That's the score of that game was 36-23. Tonight, the Bulldogs host our sectional rival, the Cathedral Fighting Irish, the number one ranked team in Class 5A, the winningest program in state history and a 14-time state champion. Despite moving down to 5A this year, Cathedral won its opener over Ben Davis 8-0 at Butler University, giving the Giants their first shutout in 15 years. Also in 6A, the 8th-ranked Avon Orioles showed that they might turning a corner back to their winning ways of the 2010s. They got only their 9th win of the last 5 seasons, beating the arch rival Decatur Central Hawks 30-28, beating our arch rival Decatur Central Hawks 30-28 in overtime. That was Decatur Central's first ever game as a member of Class 6A. Tonight, Avon visits 12th-ranked Ben Davis in West Indianapolis. In Class 4A, the Danville Warriors were the only Hendricks County team to lose last week and are the only Hendricks County team currently not ranked in its class. They were beaten 35-28 at Gibson Southern, the number one ranked team in Class 3A. Keep in mind that last year Danville also lost its opener to the Tigers, then won its 8 remaining regular season games. Tonight, the Warriors host cross-county rival Cascade. This will be the first time that those two schools have met in football in 7 years. In that game, Cascade won 28-21, ending a 25-game losing streak to the Warriors. Yes, 25. I remember I was there that night. And speaking of the Cascade Cadets taking us to the Class 3A, the Cadets are ranked number 5 after opening the season with a 48-6 win over the Monrovia Bulldogs. Like I just said, they play at Danville tonight. And finally, also in Class 3A, the 10th-ranked Tri-West Bruins got a big 35-7 win at Western Boone up in Thorntown. Tonight, Tri-West visits Rebuff Jesuit in Northwest Indianapolis. All right. Well, now the Raiders come out to the field to start off the second half here. 8:18 your time of day. And so Ethan Ellis set to kick off. Like I said, 53.5 yards, and he averaged 53.5 yards on 6 kickoffs last week with no touchbacks. Came very close on 2 of them. His only kickoff tonight went down to about 10, so about 50 yards. So a very tense crowd, hoping the Quakers will pull away and preserve this lead and increase the lead. And it's a deep kick, and it's fielded at about the 11 again, brought up to the 20. And now on under the tackle, gets up to the 25, brought down around the 26. So that was for Harrison on the return, Zion Clopton. 11:53 to go here in the second quarter. In the third quarter, excuse me. Plainfield 6, Harrison 0. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, 1 running back. Nickel off in shotgun. Nikolov takes it. Slow snap, and he gets it. He runs with it, and he gets up for about 4, maybe 3. Nikolov on the ground, 2 for 5 in the first half by my count. They give him credit for 3. They're bringing up 2nd and 7. 11:35 to go here in the third quarter. Season opener, home opener at Plainfield. Quaker and the Raiders both 1-0. Trying to take a 2-0 start into Labor Day. So now Nikolov passes out to Glick, and he breaks a tackle. He's brought down for a gain of about 3 or 4. It's going to be short of the first down. Let's see how many yards they give him. That was Glick's third. He had 11 last week in the big win to start off the season over West Lafayette. I have him 3 for 25 in this game. 3rd and 4 now. Very critical play for the Quakers defense. They don't want to give Harrison a chance to get the lead as they would with the touchdown at any conversion point. So 2 receivers now to each side for the Raiders. 10:35 to go. 5 on the play clock. Takes the snap. Looks. He's got. And he's. We got him for a sack. All right. That's the kind of play we needed. All right, and it's a big sack. I think he's down for at least 7 or 8. Oh my God, did we need that? So now the Quakers will get the ball back with a chance to make it a 2-possession game. And if we do, that will be a key play. 8 yards there on that loss. 8 yards on that sack against Nikolov. Excellent. So now Ty White standing at the Plainfield 37. The only points of this game were his 75-yard punt return for a touchdown. This time he takes it at around the 30, brings it up to the 35, 40, 45, spins around, and he plows his way up right around the 50. So Ty White getting about 15 yards after contact there, so he gives us good field position. We have not taken advantage of good field position so far in this game. Hopefully we will now. They're marking it right at the 50. Right at the 50. One receiver now to each side, 2 running backs. The Quakers have used that formation quite a bit in this game, especially in the second quarter. So now hand off to Starnes. He's got some room on the left side, and he gets up for about 3. Starnes in the first half, I have him 14 for 83. Let's see what they give him here. They give him another 3 here, so I have him 15 for 86. Closing in on 3,000 all-purpose yards for his outstanding career at Plainfield, where he has a good chance to become the all-time leading rusher at the school. So now 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Starnes, the running back, big stand off to Starnes, and now Sabon takes it himself. He's got the first down and more. And that's and he breaks the tackle back to 35, past the 30, and he's still on his feet, brought down around the 30. But that's the third double-digit rushing gain for Bryce LeBlanc in this game. All right. Then 17, so 5 for 44 on the ground for Bryce Sabank, the much improving junior. 1st and 10 now at the Harrison 30 for the Quakers. 2 receivers now to the left, 1 to the right. Darn still in there, running back. 9:09 to go in the second quarter. Plainfield 6, Harrison 0. Sabank takes the snap, drops back. We got a flag, and he throws a pass over. He threw a screen pass to Starnes, but it might be coming back. No, they're roughing the passer against no. I think the PA guy just said roughing the passer on the Quakers, which of course cannot be the case because the Quakers have the ball. Oh, illegal shift. Oh, okay. So offsetting penalties. Okay, there was a illegal shift on the Quakers. Okay, so that clears everything up. So now on Xander Nadam and one of the receiver out to the left for the Quakers. I believe that's Mason Beers out to the right, and two running backs again. I'm sorry. Okay, that's D'Amato now, and he shifts right, and now hand off there to Starnes, and he's we got another flag, and he's up for about 9, nearly got the first down, but we'll see if this counts or not. At least 2 flags down on the play. Face mask against Harrison, against Harrison. All right, good break for us. Now we've got to get that monkey off our backs. I know we've probably got a psychological thing in our heads, after failing to finish 4 drives tonight. So that the okay, so they're going to give that's going to be after the 9 yards from Starnes. So Luke Starnes about to get his latest 100-yard gain after the approximately dozen or so that he has. So I get the exact number. I'll have to look it up. So 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, 2 running backs. Sabank takes a snap, gives it to Starnes. He's inside the 10, inside the 5. He's going to be close. Did he get the touchdown? Yes, yes. Luke Starnes with the first offensive points for the Quakers, and they take command of this game with a 12-0 lead. 8:21 to go in the third quarter with the conversion pending. All right, Luke, way to go. So touchdown number 1 on the game, number 4 on the season for Luke Starnes, the superstar senior. So now Ethan Edwards trying to complete an extra point. Good snap this time. The kick is up. It's not real high, but it is good. Yes, it's good. He made it. So that's a relief. I'll tell you, when you're relieved by somebody making a PAT, you know it's been a rough season. But boy, that is great news. That is great news. That hopefully we've turned a corner and we've gotten rid of the bad snap plague. And believe me, week 2 is a good time to do it. Well, what one thing that I really wanted to see last week that and did not, and I saw a lot of things that I was very pleasantly surprised to see. So I saw much, much, much more good than bad in last week's game. Um, but one thing I did not see that I wanted to was a second running back stepping up to establish himself as a reliable number 2 back behind Starnes. I think we're going to need that if we're going to make a deep tournament run. Because most team will be able to Starnes will be able to get 100 yards plus against most, if not all, teams in the Mid-State Conference. But when you start playing teams in the sectional like Cathedral, like New Palestine, you've got to have more options. So I like our chances better if we have 2 big running backs like we did last year. Weston Wayrich being the other. Wayrich with 18 um, touchdowns as a senior after only 2 as a junior. So a much more relaxed crowd now than there was a few minutes ago. But I'll tell you that's a great feeling to finish off a drive like that. And now let's just make a habit out of it. 8:21 to go here in the third quarter. And now a surprise onside kick, but they recover. Worth a try, though. This is the kind of situation, this, early regular season game in which, you know, you can afford to take a chance like that. And the thing is, with Harrison having had very little success on the ground so far, they're probably going to be mostly passing the rest of the way, especially now that they have a multiple touchdown deficit. So what we just have to do now, induce them to pass and basically take away the big play. And hopefully Ty White will get another interception or 2. But anyway, so now handoff and they bring him down for 2 or 3. So 2nd and 8. In there for 2 yards there. And now just fakes the handoff. And now he's pressured and the pass is deflected, bringing up 3rd and 8. And boy, this is going to be a very critical play for Harrison because if they do not score on this drive, Plainfield will have a chance to get the ball back with a chance to take a Plainfield will have a chance to get the ball back and take a three touchdown lead that would be nearly insurmountable. So things looking up for the Quakers after that very shaky first quarter. So 3 receivers to the right, one to the left, and now fakes the handoff. And now, nearly intercepted, and the pass rusher nearly got it and intercepted it. In which case, he would have been gone for the touchdown. Nevertheless, two consecutive interceptions or incompletions. Excuse me, two consecutive incompletions by Landon Nikoloff. Um, and now 4th and 8, and the punting unit comes onto the field for the Raiders. 7:37 to go in the third quarter. Plainfield 13, Harrison 0. And now a near block on the punt. Ty White takes the no, he lets it go down into the takes a big Raiders bounce down to the 6. So that will be a 47-yard punt there for the Raiders. Plainfield takes over 7:25 to go in the third quarter and a 13-point lead. Clearly with the momentum now. 4 first half possessions, getting to at least the Harrison 25. No points to show for it. They did get 6 points off a punt return, but then after Harrison started off the first half with the punt, the Quakers quickly got a touchdown on an 11-yard rush by Luke Starnes. So now the Quakers back in business on offense, throw up the middle, and it is caught. So it's gain of about 16 yards there. So Xander Nadam then continuing to be the most pleasant surprise on this team, picking up 15 there. That moves Sabank over 100 yards on the game. I have Nadam 5 for 65 now. 1st and 10 at the Harrison 22. 2 receivers to the right, one to the left. Now handoff to Starnes. This time they're ready for him, and they bring him down right around the line of scrimmage. It's 38 to go now, nearly 5/8 of the way through this Labor Day weekend game. So now 2 receivers to each side. Starnes, the running back. Sabank in shotgun. The snap, throws on the right side, and he's got a completion. It's going to be to Nadam again. But only gets a few yards. Let's see where they mark him. Only give him 4. 3rd and 7 now at the 25. And now Sabank. And they got him. They got him for a sack. So the first sack of the game for Harrison. So disappointment there. So the Harrison will apparently get the ball back with a chance to cut the deficit to 1 possession. And that's a loss of 6 there by on that sack of Sabank. So now a punt by the Quakers and a fair catch called for. and it takes it's a low punt, only about 24 yards. So um, the Raiders take over in very good field position at the Plainfield 42. So now the Raiders line up two receivers to each side. They've often used four receivers on play start. And now a handoff there, and he's on a fake, and he's inside the 30, 25, 20, 10, and he could go all the way, and he does. Wow, totally caught the Quakers off guard there. That was um, Sullivan Garrett there, and the Raiders are back in this game with 4:53 to go in the third quarter. Um, Plainfield 13, Harrison 6 with the conversion pending. Well, he was lined up as a wide receiver to the right, then he suddenly dashed left and then took the handoff from Nikoloff, and he was gone. He was wide open. So I give the Raiders a lot of credit for being resilient. Sullivan Garrett, 42 yards, and the extra point is up, and it is good. So 13-7. Well, so just when it looked like the Quakers were going to run away with it, now all of a sudden it's a tense game again. Same margin it was at halftime, 6 points. Aiden Robles, by the way, good on that extra point for Harrison. Well, and what made it even more remarkable is that prior to that, nobody, by my count, for Harrison had more than 4 rushing yards in the game. They had a total of 9 rushing yards as a team, and now Sullivan Garrett 42 on that one play. So your Quakers 16 minutes and 53 seconds to hold on to the 6 point lead. Hopefully they will increase it on this drive. Boy, if they had completed even one of those first four, one of their they had gotten a touchdown on even one of their 4 first half possessions, all of which ended inside the 25-yard line of Harrison. 3 turnovers, 3 turnovers on downs, and then an incomplete pass from the 25. So now fielded near the end zone, up parts of the 10, 15, 20. So breaks through a couple of tackles, gets up to the 16. So High White, after that 75-yard punt return for a touchdown earlier, ran around. He ran about 50 yards to get about 16 there. I really like the effort. Very, very fiery young competitor, a guy who I think is going to be a Division I college player 3 years from now. So now 2 receivers to the left, one to the right, 2 running backs. I don't remember the Quakers using 2 running backs on a possession on a play last week. If they did, it was very rare. So now Starnes, and he's got through on the left side for 35, 40. So Luke Starnes with more than 20 yards there, and that gets the crowd into it. So come on, let's build on that, boys. Pick up from the 17 to about the 43. Let's see the spot he gives. They give him 23. So I have him 19 for 129 and a touchdown. So now 1 receiver to each side, 2 running backs, 4:38 to go. 1st and 10 at the Harrison 40. Handoff again to Starnes. He breaks through. He spins around. He's got another first down and more, and he gets about 8 yards or so after contact, if not 10. So Starnes two consecutive first down for the Quakers. They give him 14 on that one. So I have him 20 for 143, over 7 a carry. The Quakers now in Harrison territory at the 46, 4:15 to go. Two receivers now to the two receivers to the right, one to the left. Two running backs. Sabank takes it, hands off again to Starnes, and this time they're ready for him. They meet him at the line of scrimmage, and he's brought down. So good awareness there by Harrison. That's only about the second time that they've stopped Starnes dead in its tracks, though. So 2nd and 10 now for the Quakers at the Harrison 46, 3:35 to go here in the third quarter, excuse me. Plainfield 13, Harrison 7. Two receivers to the right now. Two running backs now. Starnes goes out left. Screen pass. He takes it past the 40, past the 35. He's got the first down. He's got the first down, and that will go as a rush because it was thrown slightly backwards. So Starnes picks up about 12 there. So the third time on this possession that Starnes has given us the first down. So way to go, Luke. I have him 22 for 155 and a touchdown. Just another day at the office for Luke Starnes. Two receivers to the left now, two running backs, and now Sabank fakes the handoff. Then he throws this pass. Oh, it's dropped. It's dropped. He would have had about 6 or 7 there. The intended receiver was Austin Ward, who had a touchdown last week. He is a very um, promising sophomore for us, one of several on this team. So 2nd and 10 now. I have Sabank 13 for 21 and 107. So Beers now to the Beers and one other receiver to the left, one receiver to the right. Two running backs, Bonk and shotgun. Now D'Amato goes left to right. Now they give it to no, they fake. So okay, fakes the handoff. Another Scott Amore caliber fake. Another Scott Amore caliber fake, and Sabank with another good rush there. Let's see where they mark him. He got several. They give him credit for 7, so I have him 7 for 45, bringing it to 3rd and 3 at the 3rd and 4. Excuse me, third and 4 at the Harrison 28, 2:18 to go here in the third quarter. Let's get this first down, boys. And now hands off to Starnes. He plows through. I think he's going to be a yard short of the first, but I would imagine we would go for it. Yeah, 1 yard short. So I'm almost certain the Quakers are going to go for this. This will be a 42-yard field goal. So now we've got Mason Beers lined up to the left, another receiver to the right, two running backs. 1:45 to go. The snap. High snap, and he gets it. Hands off to Starnes. He's got the first down and more inside the 20, inside the 15. So Luke Starnes with another first down inside the 15. That's going to be about another 12 yards there for Luke Starnes. A good shot to get 200 yards in this game after getting 103 last week to start off the season. Giving credit for 11, so 24 for 169 and a touchdown by my count for Luke Starnes. Has 4 touchdowns on this young season already. 3 rushing, one passing. Had 19 touchdowns last year as a junior. So now Vanderbush and one other receiver to the left, here to the right. Sabank takes it, throws it, and it is, D'Amato had it in his hands. He just didn't get the grip. Devin D'Amato, who I believe in 14 years of commentating the Quakers is the first person who had an Italian name that had an apostrophe in it. So it's always interesting to see, to notice firsts like that. So 3 receivers to the left, 1 running back, 1:08 to go. Some movement at the line. We got a flag here with 1:08 to go. So let's see who that's against. Offsides on Harrison, so 5 free yards for the Quakers. All right. 8:45 your time of day. If Plainfield gets a touchdown on this possession, we're going to breathe a lot easier. So 2nd and 5 now at the 9 for the Quakers. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Starnes the running back. Now D'Amato shifts right. High snap, but he gets it, gives it to Starnes inside up to about the 5. It's going to be very close to the first down. He might have it by the skin of his teeth. No, I'm sorry, that was McGill. McGill, they're in there for Starnes. I apologize. So Corin McGill with, or yeah, Corin McGill with the rush for 3 yards there. He's had a few good moments tonight. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. 2 running backs now. And now hands off there to Starnes. He goes all the way in for the touchdown. Yes. Yes. All right. So we breathe easier again. For the second time in this game, your Quakers have a 2-touchdown lead. Um, this time it is 19-7. And so, and now the extra point attempt for Edwards. Good snap again, and the kick is once again up, and it is good. So, all right, 2 extra points in a row, and your Quakers finally starting to pull away. It looks like they probably will get out of here with the win now. Just a little over a quarter to play, 25.5 seconds to go in the third quarter. Your score, Plainfield 20, Harrison 7. Boy, I'll tell you, you know, I raised 2 kids. They're both young adults now. A 21-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son who's here with me sitting in the press box right now. Um, and has been with me most of my broadcasts from 2021 to present. And I noticed that sometimes, as a parent, you just have to keep on noticing the little improvements here and there, and they really add up, and ended up, often meaning a lot. And it's the same way as a fan of a team. Nobody is a bigger Quakers fan than I am. I'm sure that comes through in my very enthusiastic calls. And you know, I got really frustrated after the only 1 conversion point last week, and uh, 2 of the 4 failing because of bad snaps, and then the first one tonight failing because of a bad snap. So now 2 successful PATs in a row by Ethan Edwards, and it's like now I feel also right with the world. Um, so sometimes little things really make you feel good, and so after a lot of years, especially through the Hagee brothers, where I just took the PATs for granted. It's great to see us getting on track with that, with this team. And I didn't panic when we had that trouble last week because, like, we got 8 games, about 2 months for the playoffs to polish it up. But it's good to see the uh, the progress that we made in this game, especially shaking off the first bad snap where it was probably in our heads, and now coming off 2 very good snaps and successful PATs in a row. And hopefully it'll be smooth sailing the rest of the way from here. Hopefully the rest of this game will be smooth sailing too. So now the Raiders are going to have to probably they're going to pass on about every play. So what the Quakers just have to do now is take away the big play, and this one should be ours, barring an extraordinary turn of events. And now the kickoff, it's just shy of the 15, and he's found some room on the right side, gets up for about 20 yards there. That was Sullivan Garrett, who had the only score for Harrison on that beautiful trick play, that perfectly executed trick play, which is obviously the highlight of this game now for the Raiders. 18.2 seconds to go now in the third quarter. Plainfield 20, Harrison 7. The Quakers look to be finally, in control of this game. And I'll tell you, when we get to the third quarter break, I'm going to pop open my Diet Coke because my throat is very dry. Two receivers now to the left, one to the right for the Raiders. They need 2 touchdowns. They got a little over a quarter to do it. Low snap, and he gets it. Now Nikolov throws deep down the right side. Schwartz makes a beautiful catch and great coverage. Wow. Let's see where they mark him. That's going to be for over 30 yards. Jacob Schwartz on the reception there. So 33 yards there. 8 seconds to go. They're going to try to run one more play before the quarter. 4 seconds. 3. They might not get it off. No, they don't. Maybe they're trying to draw the Quakers off sides. But anyway, your Plainfield Quakers, they don't have it in the bag yet, but it does look promising. 12 minutes to play. Your score, Plainfield 20, Harrison 7. We'll be back with the thrilling conclusion after these words from our sponsors on audiosportsonline.com. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football on audiosportsonline.com is brought to you by the generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to recognize them, and we hope we will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Vanilla Financial, Crone Family Construction, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P. Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Hopkins, Ellison Associates, and BGW and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, business partners. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the fourth quarter of this thrilling early season game with your Plainfield Quakers in their home opener, trying to hang on to a 27 lead over the Harrison Raiders. Harrison ball now first in at the 31. Nikolov throws into the end zone, and it is incomplete. He's going for Schwartz again, coming off that 33-yard gain on the last play of the third quarter. Nikolov has thrown deep a lot. He's got a good arm. He's a senior. Should be playing college ball a year from now. 2-year starter there for the Raiders. First name not Landon, but Lannon, Lannon, rhymes with Dannon or Shannon. One receiver to the right. Now, a handoff there. We nearly trip him up. He gets over on the right side, and he might gain a couple of yards. So very little gain, if any. Let's see where they spot him. They give him 2. 11:32 to go, so a very critical 3rd and 8 for the Raiders. They are in Quaker territory at the 29, that they have a 13-point deficit here early in the fourth quarter. Still 3 timeouts for both teams. 13 on the play clock. 1 receiver to each side, 1 running back. And now they swarm in on Nikolov. They nearly get him, but he gets the ball off. And it's complete inside the 15. They're not marking him out at the 13. That was caught by that was Glick, 16 yards there. Wow, he nearly was nearly sacked there, but he did get the ball off and picks up 16 there. Channing Glick, 4 for 41 in this game. So 1st and 10 at the 13 for Harrison, now trailing by 13. And now he throws into the end zone again, but it's incomplete. And we got a flag, possibly pass interference, but let's see. See what the that's interference as I expected. So that'll be half the distance to the goal. So the Raiders will have it at 6 or 7 with 10:55 to go. A touchdown will make it a one possession game. Too close for comfort here on opening night. The Quakers have never trailed in this game. They've had the lead ever since they first got it, but they've never pulled away. The the key to the main thing to take away from this game is way too many missed opportunities. I mean, way too many, as in four first half possessions where you get to your opponent's 25 or beyond and come away with 0 points. Good news is that the last two conversions have been very smooth. So two receivers now to each side, one running back, and now I've tried the same play that they used earlier to Sullivan Garrett, and I think he did. So the same play to Sullivan Garrett, except for, from the other side of except they did it from left to right. They did it this time left to right instead of right to left. But wow, so Sullivan Garrett only two rushes, but they both go for touchdowns. One from 48, one from 6. And now Aiden Robles for the extra point. He's 5 for 5 on the season. And now we've got the play whistle dead. .49 to go. Your score, Plainfield 20, Harrison 13 with the conversion pending. 8:15 your time of day. What a start to Labor Day weekend. I've commentated some dandies against Mooresville on Labor Day weekend. Now a couple of against Harrison the last couple of years, and now they fumbled the snap, and Plainfield's got it, so the conversion is failed. So now Harrison having a little special teams, a little conversion woes of their own after a mishandled snap there. It looked like he got the ball clean, but this didn't. And then it looked to me like he tried to put it down, and it just slipped from his hand. So Plainfield will get the ball now with a 7 point lead, 10:49 to go. Let's go, boys. Let's put this thing away. And now I am going to pop open my Diet Coke here because my throat is very, very dry. I have not had anything to drink in about 8 hours. So bear with me while I chug this delicious soda that was graciously provided by the generous staff here at Plainfield. Oh man, feel better now. All right, hopefully I just chugged enough to get me through the rest of the game. No, now the Raiders set to kick off. And now the ball falls off the tee. Let me feel outside the press box here. I don't feel much wind. Certainly not. I don't. But it doesn't feel to me like enough wind to blow over the football. But all right. But how great it is, though, to have such a great crowd here, and beautiful weather on the in the opening home game of what should be an illustrious season for Plainfield football. The first of 5 home games, and now deep kick. White chases it, bounces around the 7, and goes out of bounds. Goes out of bounds. Okay, well, good decision by White to let it go out of bounds. So we'll take over. I believe we take over at the 40. All right, 10:49 to go here. Let's just keep the clock of the chains moving. Not only gain a lot of yards, try to stay in bounds. Make them use their timeouts. Okay, we take over at the 35, 35. All right, solid starting field position. So now McGill and Starnes in the backfield. Good to see McGill getting some more playing time tonight. Hopefully, we'll get some more carries from him. Two receivers out to the left. Handoff now. And now they give it to. And now they fumble and Harrison's got it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. It looked like the handoff was mishandled. Well, Harrison fumbled at almost exactly that same spot earlier in the game, and the Quakers did not convert. Hopefully, history will repeat itself. But we got to be ready. One thing I've learned over the years, you got to put teams away when you have the chance because there's no guarantee you're going to get the chance later. And now Harrison um, with the ball taking over at the Plainfield 33, 10:42 to go, only down by 7. Two receivers now to the right, two to the left, one running back. Nikoloff in shotgun. He's had a solid game. And now makes the handoff and throws up the middle, and he's got it. Schwartz wide open, and he gets the touchdown. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! So now 20. Now um, Plainfield's lead down to 1, and the conversion pending. So we'll see what Harrison does with the conversion here. So 2 touchdowns, 14 seconds apart for the Raiders. That is not good. 33 yards from Landon Nikoloff to Jacob Schwartz. Going for the extra point to tie, and it is good. Barely got it over the crossbar, but it counts. So Robles remains perfect on extra points on the season, and we are tied 20-20. It's the first tie since 0-0. Well, uh, I was hoping I wouldn't be in position to mention it, but now turning back to a favorite song of mine by the band Styx. These are the times we find out who we really are. So hopefully, what we find out will be good over these next 10 minutes and 35 seconds to close out this game. What a wild turn of events. I wonder if that sets the record for the most times, the shortest gap between touchdowns for an opponent against Plainfield. I'll have to look that one up. For Nikoloff, I have him now 10 for 10. He's completed 10 of 16 passes, 177 yards and a touchdown. Jacob Schwartz with his second reception of the game. Ironically, his first was for 33 yards. So was the second, and the second one being for the touchdown. And it's a line drive kick fielded at about the 16, brought to the 20, 25, 30. It's got a hole, 35. All right. So you could tell he felt the urgency. That was Callahan there for Plainfield. To Sean Callahan, he's a senior, wants to close out his career with a deep playoff run. The Quakers take over. He didn't get quite as good a spot as I thought at the 32. So now we've got Ward and Nadam out to the left. We got D'Amato, and I believe that's Vanderbush out to the right. And now pass over to D'Amato. He makes the catch, and he's brought down immediately after picking up just 3 or 4. Moving 4 there. D'Amato with his second reception. First one was for 5. That was for 4. 10:05 to go. We're tied at 20 here in the fourth quarter. 2 receivers to the left, one to the right. Handoff there. He breaks through, and Starnes nearly gets the first down. I think he's going to be a yard short. Starnes, obviously the MVP, picks up 5 there. I have him now 26 for 179 and 2 touchdowns. So now we got Nadam and one other receiver to the left, one receiver to the right, 2 running backs there, 9:26 to go, 3rd and 1 at the 41. You got to get this first down. We do have it. Starnes gets the first down and more. He gets up about 7. All right. Starnes closing in on 200 yards. Well, I was hoping, it wouldn't get to this point, but after after those 2 quick touchdowns by Harrison, we're back to being the cardiac Quakers. So now Nadam and D'Amato out to the right, Ward, and I believe that's I'm sorry, Nadam and D'Amato to the left. Ward and one other receiver to the right. Now handoff there to Starnes again. He's been all that's the 35 40. He gets inside the 30, 25, 20, 15. All right. Luke Starnes takes it about 40 yards. And we're inside the 15. That's the kind of play we needed. Way to go, Luke. And that puts him well over 200 yards for the game. All right. 38 yards by Luke Starnes. I have him 28 for 224 and 2 touchdowns. So now we've got, I believe it's okay, 3 receivers out to the left. Starnes is still in the backfield now. 1 receiver shifts right. Now handoff to Starnes. No, there's a fake, and he gets inside the 10. Bonk with his 3rd Scott Amore caliber fake of the game. His 8th keeper of the game. He gets 7. 2nd and 3 for the Quakers at the 7. Now, come on, boys, let's just finish this drive here. Finish it. So 3 receivers to the right. Starnes the running back. Bonk in shotgun. 7:42 to go, and we're tied. Now hands off to Starnes. He gets through on the right, and he got it for the touchdown, and we go back with the lead. All right. Luke Starnes, touchdown number 6. He had 3 last week, 3 tonight. 5 of the 6 have come on the ground, and the Quakers go back up 26, 27, 33 to go. Way to go. All right. Just got to keep on pushing. So now Ethan Edwards trying to go make his 3rd consecutive PAT tonight. I think the Quakers are building some confidence in this category. Snap a little high, but he gets it down, and the kick is up, and it's good. So after after a near disaster after a near disaster where Harrison scored um after Harrison scored 2 touchdowns 14 seconds apart to tie it, the Quakers remain their re- retain their composure. They play with urgency, play with focus, and they get the lead back. 2-minute 58-second drive capped off by a 7-yard rush by Luke Starnes, the 3rd touchdown of the game, 6th of the season. It was set up by a 48-yard rush by Starnes earlier on that drive to get us in position. And then also a good 7-yard keeper there by Sabank. You know, I haven't mentioned it in a while. Every time somebody makes an awesome um, fake handoff, I always refer to it as a Scott Amore caliber fake. I don't think I've mentioned in a while who Scott Amore is. Back when I was a rookie commentator back in 2012, I commentated 3 games for Danville, who did not exactly a wishbone, but certainly an extremely heavy rushing offense. There was one game I commentated; they did 67 rushes, 5 passes, more than a 13-to-1 rush pass ratio. and they're they had an option quarterback named Scott Amore, and he ruined so many of my calls that year by being such a good handoff faker that to me he became the gold standard of handoff faking. And so that's what I mean when I say that was a Scott Amore caliber fake. I meant that it was such a good fake that it that it tricked me. I hope to meet Scott Amore someday. Well, that'd be a lot of fun. So now the kickoff, and it's taken down at around the 6, right up to the 10, 15, 20, 25. So you can see the Harrison returner with a lot of intensity as well. So Harrison will take over, trailing by 7. First and 10 to throw in 27, 7:28 to go. Plainfield nearly let this one slip away, but then they came back strong. Now we got to finish strong. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. And now we got him for a sack. We got him for a sack. All right. The second sack on Nikoloff in this game. So that's a 5-yard loss there. Second and 15 now at the 20 at the 22. And I'll tell you, if Harrison does not score in this drive, when we get it back, what we got to do is just milk the clock like a cow and make them use their timeouts. So now Harrison, and now a long pass there, and it is nearly caught by Garrett. He had both hands on it, just didn't get the grip. So now a very critical 3rd and 15 for the for the Raiders. And I'll tell you, I don't blame him for going for Garrett. I mean, he's the reason they're in this game now with those 2 touchdowns on the same play, albeit from the opposite. One was right to left, the other was left to right. He does seem to have the magic touch tonight, though he didn't quite get that one. So 2 receivers to the left, one to the right. Now one running back. Um, Nikoloff in shotgun. He's had overall a fairly good game. Drops back, and now we've got a flag here. And he throws. He's got a completion there. I believe that's Clary. He's brought down, and the fumbles, and Plainfield fought it. There was a flag. We don't know what that's about. So let's see. Could be the play could be coming back. No, it's against Harrison. The penalty declined. All right. So now Harrison with the Plainfield with the ball. Um, take over at the Harrison 34, 6:31 to go, and a 7-point lead. No excuses. No excuses now. Let's finish this off. Let's finish this off, boys. I feel the power. Now, and now fakes the handoff, and now Sabank looks to throw. Now he runs with it himself. He gets out of bounds after about 6 yards, but there is a flag. I think 2 flags, actually. So let's see what that's all about. The clock stops, 6:24 to go. Plainfield with the ball, leading 27-20. 6:24 to go in the game after recovering a fumble. After recovering a fumble, um, we have a chance to put this one away. Oh, holding on Plainfield. Okay, so the place coming back. But I'll tell you, I'm now feeling good after the 3 successful PATs in a row. That if we get close, I'd feel comfortable going for a field goal now. At the beginning of this game, I would not have. But it looks like we've started to get that polished up. So now 1st and 20 at the Harrison 44 for Plainfield. Nearly 7/8 of the way through this game. The Quakers making it too close for comfort. This game should have been put away by now, but they still, they're finishing strong. So now hand off to Starnes again, and then he runs around the right side, and he finds some room. He gets over 10 yards and out of bounds after picking up about 13. And I'll tell you about Luke Starnes. He's so tough and so relentless. He's good at bouncing off defenders. He's good at switching directions. Um, and dragging dragging defenders with him as they give him credit for 14. There I have him 30 for 245 and 3 touchdowns now. His college stock continuing to rise. 3 receivers to the right now. Guards the running back. 5:44 to go and counting. 2nd and 6 now. So good recovery from that 1st and 20. And now Sabank throws up the middle. He's got a catch, and he's got the first down inside the 25 and inside the 20. So pass to Beers there. Mason Beers picks up 12. Sabank, I have him 15 for 24 now. Mason Beers, his 2nd reception of the game. He had 3 last week. 1st and 10 at the 16 for the Quakers. 2 receivers to each side. Starnes in there at running back. Sabank in shotgun. 5:05 to go. Handoff to Starnes. Breaks through. But he's tripped up and he only gets 2 or 3. But the clock keeps on ticking. I'm going for 2. 13 for 13 rushes, 31 rushes, 247 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Luke Starnes after 3 touchdowns last week against Terre Haute South, nearly 400 all-purpose yards on the season already. So now we've got Nadam out to the left, Ward, and I believe that's Beard to the right. And now screen pass over to Nadam on the left side. He's got room inside the 10, and he's knocked out of bounds. Wish he'd stayed in bounds, but nevertheless, close to the first down. Let's see where they mark him. Give him 5. I have Nadam's 7 receptions, which is what he had last week. I have him 7 for 74. In fact, I believe he had 70. I know he had somewhere in the 70s last week. Let me pull this up. Yeah, 7 for 72 last week. 4:08 to go in the game now. Plainfield 3rd and 3 at the Harrison 9. Let's just put this one away. Well, let me see if I get some other scores here from games that are of interest here. And now Plainfield returns to the now 3rd and 3 at the 9. Under 4 minutes to go now. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. And now handoff to Starnes, and he goes in for the touchdown. All right. So number 4 on the game, number 7 on the season for Luke Starnes. Oh man, what a treat! What a privilege it is to cover that young man. And for these next 4 years, when he's playing his football on Saturday afternoons, um, I'm really gonna enjoy telling people about his glory days here at Plainfield that I saw over these last 3 years. He makes it look easy. 3:50 to go in the Quakers, 33-20 with the conversion pending. And now Edwards up and good on the extra point. So The Quakers have shaken off their conversion woes. They've hit four in a row now, and that's a great feeling, especially after that bad snap tonight to start off after the first touchdown. So Luke Starnes, by my count, 32 rushes, 256 yards, and even eight yard, and even 8 yards to carry, four touchdowns, all in the second half. Two in the third quarter, two in the fourth, and now a few fans finally starting to file out. But man, this was a tense crowd for most of the game, and yes, there are some rough edges to polish from this one. There's things we need to work on, but like I said last week, well, to slightly rephrase something I said last week, I'd much rather work on these things at 2-0 than at 0-2. Now, some people might say maybe it'd be good for the kids to have a loss to learn a lesson. Maybe it would, but at the same time, there is a good feeling to rising to the occasion and just coming back and spitting in your opponent's eyes when they're when you think you're down. So now the kickoff goes deep field, and that's about to be we got a shot at, but no, he picks it up and he's got some room and he's up past the 30. So that could have been a disaster for the Raiders. As it was, they turned something into nothing. I'll look at some other scores here. Check this out. Uh, Cascade leading Danville 35-17 in the fourth. Wow, what a powerhouse Cascade is becoming there in Class 3A. I'll look at the Mid-State Conference. Indian Creek, wow, that's a surprise. Indian Creek beating Greenwood in the fourth 29-10. Very disappointing for Greenwood in year three under Justin Bozer, who showed a lot of promise in the first 2 years. So now two receivers to the left, one to the right for Harrison. They need two scores and fast, two touchdowns and fast. And then we get Nicola for a sack. All right. All right. We're going for the jugular, baby. All right. So, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. That's the way the Quakers are finishing tonight after a 7-yard loss there on the Nicola. Second and 17 now. Deep, and they got to Glick wide open. He's got the first down and more, and he could go all the way. 40, one man to beat, 45, 20, 15, 10, one dive, and no, he's got it. Um, so Channing Glick, 72 yards, and this one is not over. Boy, I give Harrison all the credit in the world. A couple of times in this game, it looked like they were down and out, and especially not only giving up those two quick touchdowns to Starnes, but then that devastating tackle, and then they came back and spit in our eyes. So, wow. So your score now, Plainfield 34, Harrison 26 with the conversion pending. Robles on the extra point. It is up, and it is good. So Robles remains perfect on the season, 7 for 7. Wow. So only 51 seconds for the Raiders to answer. Wow. So now the thing is, I would guess, even though Harrison does have 3 timeouts, most likely they're going to go for the onside kick here. And if they do, we just have to keep, milking the clock like a cow, make them use the timeouts. That's the first thing. Wow. What a barn burner. What a way to start off Labor Day weekend. And I'm so honored that you all took time out, before you do your weekend vacations, your 3-day vacations, and your cookouts and trips, final trips to the beach of the year. That you took a little time to spend with me and the Quakers, and it's just always a wonderful privilege to have you in the audience, and you know, remember during these games from 7 to 10 on Friday nights, we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're simply Quakers. No matter who you are, no matter how you vote, no matter what you believe, if you're part of this Quaker family, you're welcome here and you're valued. And um, we can put our differences aside to support these kids for 3 hours every Friday night. We might have different ideas about about how to achieve goals, but we all one thing we have in common is that we all want a better America. We just need to work together and figure out the best way to do it. And it's okay if we have disagreements. So now an onside kick, and we got it, so we will take over at our own 46 or 47, 250. We'll take over at our own fifth. We will take over at our own 46 with 2:58 to go. Now the main thing to do, obviously, no turnovers, but besides that, milk the clock like a cow, make them use their timeouts, keep the clock and the chains moving. We can, the way that we run the ball, especially by Starnes. We can run out the clock tonight. We can run out this last 2:58 without them even getting the ball back. So two receivers to the left, one to the right. Starnes gets it again. It's over to the right side, and he stays in bounds. Please stay in bounds, Luke. I think they tried to push him out. I think he stayed in. He got close to a first down. Yeah, the clock has kept on moving. Starnes now 33 carries, 265 yards. Who knows? He might get 300 tonight. I don't know what the all-time record is in Quaker history. I need to check that. I also need to get a list of the current Quakers playing collegiately. I haven't done that in 2 or 3 years as far as updated you on all that. That's one of my favorite things to do, and it's had so much else to talk about. So now Starnes again. He's got the first down and about 4 or 5 more. Gets to 4 or 5. No middle for guessing who the MVP of this game is. So Harrison takes its first time out now after a 5 yard pickup there by Luke Starnes. So that's exactly what I wanted. Exactly what I wanted to do. Make them use all their timeouts. Now let's look at some other scores here. Whiteland in the fourth quarter, beating Floyd Central 41-28. Good win for Darren Fisher's program if they hang on. Floyd Central, some of you might remember, is the alma mater of former IU basketball player Pat Graham. He was part of that awesome recruiting class of 1989. I saw him play in person um, when his Floyd Central team played at Madison, my alma mater. We were together at the time in the Hoosier Hills Conference, and yeah, that was a heck of a it was a heck of a game. Actually took them to overtime before they beat us. That would have been a big upset for our program. Pat graduated from high school in '89, like I did. So now they give it to uh, uh, um, Barnes again, and he was hit beyond the line of scrimmage. A guy had his leg, but he just took free and gained about 1 yard. But the clock keeps on moving unless they use their timeouts. So only 1 yard there by Starnes. So Harrison has taken their second timeout. So 2:01 to go. They only have one timeout left. A disappointing start to the season for Martinsville. The Artesians, after making the semi-state for the first time in school history last year, uh, are now trailing Bloomington South 38-21 in the fourth quarter after losing to Bedford North Lawrence. Um, Bedford North Lawrence last week. Bedford North Lawrence, of course, the alma mater of another well-remembered IU basketball player, Damon Bailey. I saw him play in high school twice at my alma mater of Madison. So 2nd and 9 now for the Quakers at the Harrison 41, leading 34-27. 9:30 your time of day. Two receivers to the right, one to the left. Starnes gets it, and he's hit and only gets maybe 1 yard. I think Harrison just used his last time out. So they've really stopped Starnes very strongly on the last couple of possessions. So so Harrison using its final timeout after a 1 yard pickup from Starnes with 1:56 to go in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, it's Plainfield leading Harrison 34-27, a wild and woolly game. You know, I hope that, you know, next year we'll find a week two opponent that's a lot closer to home. But and that's strictly because of the distance, the logistics, less travel for the players, for the fans. But man, if this is the last game in this series, what a rivalry it's been. These 6 games over the last 4 years, 2 of them in the playoffs. So 3rd and 8 now. If we get this first down, then we can kneel out the clock. The receivers now to the right, one to the and now hand off to Starnes again, but they meet him and he only gets up for about one. So maybe we finally went to the well a few too many times with Starnes. I think they stopped him for one again. That'll bring up 4th down. So I would imagine that probably Plainfield will let the play clock run down to 1 second, then call timeout, then punt, try to pin the Raiders deep in their own territory. It looks like they're going to give Starnes credit for no gain on that one. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the Quakers used their first timeout. Went with 1:12 to go. So when we come back, Plainfield will punt and try to force the Raiders into bad field position, and then just have to take away the big play. Harrison will presumably be only throwing long passes and will be they have no timeouts. So looking at a few other scores here of interest, also in the Mid-State Conference. Well, this game has a double interest to us because it involves one of our potential sectional rivals, Palestine, the number 2 ranked team in Class 5A behind Cathedral, who's also in our sectional. New Palestine is leading. New Palestine has the beaten Decatur Central 28-6. So Decatur Central, after winning the first ever football state championship in the Mid-State Conference last year, moves up to 6A. So far, 0-2. They lose to Avon last week in overtime tonight. Lose very badly to New Palestine. Franklin does get a win over Mount Vernon 27-13. The Grizzly Cubs now 2-0. Perry Meridian shakes off last week's blowout loss and gets a 41-0 win over Southport tonight. Perry Meridian lost to Franklin Central last week. Now the punt goes inside the 10, it goes down to about the 5, around the 4. All right. So 59.9 seconds to go. So the Raiders are going to have 96 yards to go and 59.9 seconds to go with no timeouts. No excuse for not stopping them, boys. No excuses. Boy, uh, I tell you, sometimes, I wish they wouldn't make us sweat it out and wouldn't make our pulses race so much, but I just love these kids. We're so blessed to have such great kids here in Plainfield. So now, miscommunication and Nikoloff throws an incompletion there. So 2nd and 10 now for 56 seconds to go. The Raiders trailing by 7 at their own 4. They have 96 yards to go with no timeouts. And finally, rounding out the Mid-State Conference, Mooresville, our opponent next week, 48-0 over Terre Haute. Mooresville's beaten Terre Haute North 48. Mooresville has beaten Terre Haute North 48-0. And now we got a flag here before the play starts. So Mooresville, after a disappointing 4-7 season, their first losing season in 7 years, and only the second of the Micah Gillen era, now it looks like they're going to be a very formidable team again this year. After a 2-0 start, we better be ready for them next week. And boy, with assuming both teams come in, assuming we win, both teams will come in at 2-0, and what a big game that will be. So now Nikoloff throws a screen pass, but it's completed to right around the line of scrimmage. So yeah, we'll let them have all the short passes like that. Well, they gave him credit for 2, but still, that was a very unproductive play. And now Nikoloff nearly gets the safety, and now he goes up. He's got the first down just shy of the 20. 32.2 seconds to go. They will stop the clock to move the chains. And now an incomplete pass. So the clock stops 2nd and 10 with 27.9 seconds to go. Plainfield leading by 7. The what do you call them? The Raiders. The Raiders need 81 yards in 27.9 seconds with no timeouts. 2nd and 10 now. They're at the 19. So now Nikoloff drops. Yes. 22 seconds left. The clock is ticking. They can't stop it. They're going to have to hurry into formation. 15 seconds now. That's a 6-yard loss. The 4th sack of Nikoloff in this game. So they get the playoff. And we get it for a sack again. And that's it. Quakers win. Quakers win. We look like we're going to give it away a couple of times, but we come through when it counted, and we kick them right in the donkey. And that's it. Your Plainfield Quakers 2-0 for the 3rd consecutive season. Your final score here tonight. Plainfield 34, Harrison 27. They didn't make it easy. They did not make it easy on our hearts, but they sure made it exciting. We'll be back after these final words from our sponsors with a recap and a look ahead to next week's showdown with Mooresville or something. This broadcast of Plainfield Quakers football is brought to you because of the very generous donations of our sponsors. We would like to thank them, and we hope you will support them. They are Frigid Frog, New Wave Solutions, Gunnell Financial, Grown Family Constructor, Adrenaline Fundraising, Crest Point Real Estate Coach P, Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones and the Stewart Home Group, Remax Centerstone, Julia Berberich, Flora Brothers Painting, I-70 Record Service and Garage, Units Moving and Portable Storage, Haynes Roofing and Remodeling LLC, Headquarters Barbershop, Edward Jones, Chris Houskins, Ellison Associates, BGW, and Legacy Motorsports. Thank you, sponsors. Your support for the student athletes of Plainfield High School is greatly appreciated. Okay. Well, back here at Plainfield for a final time tonight, where your Plainfield Quakers have just won a super thriller over the arch rival Harrison Raiders. It was an up and down, wild and woolly game with a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of mistakes, but also some great triumphs. And the Quakers showing that they can really come back and stick it to you when it counts the most. And just making us very, very proud of these fine young men as they move to 2-0 on the season, beating Harrison by a score of 34-27. Now, Plainfield got the ball first, took the ball all the way down to the all the way down to the Harrison 6, then turned it over on downs. Then after a Harrison punt, Ty White returned it 75 yards for the Quakers for a touchdown with 1:44 to go here in the first quarter. and the extra point, the conversion failed because of yet another bad snap after we had two conversion failures because of bad snaps last week, causing a lot of concern. Um, However, the other three Plainfield possessions of the second half ended on the first two ended on turnovers on downs. One at the Harrison 24, and the other at one at the Harrison 24, the other at the Harrison 2, and then finally on the last play of the half, Bryce Sabunk threw an incompletion from the Harrison 25. However, the Raiders got almost no rushing offense going, and their passing offense was well contained, so they did not score in the first half. And Plainfield led 6-0. However, the second half was a completely different story. With 8:21 to go in the third quarter, Luke Starnes um, scored on an 11-yard rush, and Ethan Edwards hit the extra point, making it 13-0, and the Quakers appeared to be in good shape at that point. However, Harrison finally got its first offense going on a trick play. Um, Sullivan Garrett lined up as a wide receiver on the right, then suddenly cut left and took a handoff from Harrison quarterback Landon Nikoloff, took it all the way in 42 yards for the touchdown, and Aiden Robles hit the extra point, making it 13-7. Plainfield was undaunted, came back and scored on a 6-yard touchdown rush by Starnes with 25.5 seconds to go in the third quarter. Edwards hit a second consecutive extra point, making it 26. Then, however, came a near disaster for the Quakers. With 10:49 to go in the fourth quarter, um, Harrison scored again on an identical play to the one they scored on in the third quarter, except from the opposite direction. Instead of right to left, this one was left to right. Once again by Sullivan Garrett, this time coming from 6 yards after the first one was 42. Um, However, this one, on this one, there was no conversion point because the snap was mishandled. However, Plainfield lost a fumble at its own 33 on the ensuing drive, and then on the first play, Landon Nikoloff threw 33 yards to Jacob Schwartz for a touchdown. So the so the so the Raiders scored on two consecutive the Raiders scored on two consecutive offensive plays 14 seconds apart. Um, Nikoloff threw 33 yards to Jacob Schwartz, and Robles hit the extra point, making it 20 to 13. Um, I'm I'm sorry, that made it 20. I'm sorry. Let me back up. With 10:49 to go, Garrett's second touchdown made it 20 to 13 after the failed conversion. Um, that made it 20 to 13 with 10:49 to go, and then after the Plainfield fumble on the next Harrison play, Nikoloff threw 33 yards to Jacob Schwartz for a touchdown. So Harrison got two touchdowns, 14 seconds apart, and made it that changed the score from 20-7 to 20-20. So 13 points in 14 seconds by the Raiders tied it. However, then on Plainfield's ensuing possession, Luke Starnes rushed um, rushed 48 yards to the Harrison 14. Then on the next play, Bryce Sabunk on a keeper took it up 7 yards. And on the next play, with 7:33 to go, Starnes scored his third touchdown of the game on another 7-yard rush. This time, Edwards hit a third consecutive extra point, making it 27-20. Um, and then with 3:50 to go, Starnes scored his fourth touchdown of the game on a 9-yard rush. And Edwards' fourth consecutive extra point made it 34-20, and it looked like the Quakers had it in the bag. However, um, on Harrison's ensuing possession, Nikoloff threw 72 yards to Glick, to Channing Glick for a touchdown, and Robles' extra point made it 34-27. And then on Plainfield, after an onside kick failed, Plainfield forced Harrison to use their 3 timeouts, then punted, and the game ended with two consecutive sacks the fourth and fifth sacks of the game on Nikoloff and Harrison. Plainfield got out of here with a 34-27 win on Labor Day. And now the PA once again playing our victory song, the Kenny Loggins classic, playing with the boys. The lesser known of his two songs from the classic movie Top Gun. Of course, big hit from that movie by him was Danger Zone, but Playing for the Boys, a very great underrated song. It should have been released as a single. But anyway, I'll look at the individual statistics of the game. Bryce Sabonk, another solid game at quarterback to start his junior season, his second season as a starter. He completed 16 of 25 passes for 128 yards. He completed passes for the second consecutive week to 7 different receivers. That's a very good sign after the very limited passing offense last year. Once again, Xander Nadam, the junior, big surprise on this team. 7 receptions for the 7 receptions for the second consecutive week, 72 yards last week, 74 tonight. In addition, Mason Beers 2 for 19. Austin Ward's 2 for 8. Devin D'Amato 2 for 9. Oren McGill 1 for 5. Cohen Vanderbush 1 for 8, and Luke Starnes 1 for 5. Meanwhile, for Harrison, Landon Nikoloff completed 13 of 21 passes for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. Channing Glick over 100 yards through the air for the second consecutive week. Tonight, 7 receptions, 120 yards and a touchdown. Also, Jacob Schwartz, 2 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown. In addition, Quinn Clary had 3 for 39. Jack Gonzalez, 1 for 31. On the ground, Sullivan Garrett rushed twice, both on trick plays, both for touchdowns, one from 42 yards, one from 6. So we had two rushes, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. Other than that, not much to report. Plainfield very well contained. Harrison on the ground, Jack Gonzalez 3 for 2, Zion Clapton 2 for 4, Connor Glick 1 for 3, Gage Lyons 1 for 2, and Landon Nikoloff 8 for -42, including sacks on the last 2 plays of the game. So anyway, in conclusion, this is a game that should not have been tight. We should have put this away. We should have had a multiple possession lead at the half. We should have been playing our reserves in the fourth quarter. What to learn from this game? Obviously, finished drives. We were playing. Harrison is a solid team. I mean, they've finished 500 or above 10 of the last 11 seasons. They should, be a winning team again this year. 6-4 last year, and they returned a lot of their key players. But man, you have 4 first half possessions, and you get all of to at least your opponent's 25, and you come away with 0 offensive points. That's an absolute no-no. That is something we cannot let continue to happen. We've got to start finishing drives consistently from start to finish. And had it not been for that kickoff, that punt return for the touchdown, 75 yards by Ty White, who knows, how this game might have turned out. So that was a very critical play for us. So you got to finish drives, number 1. And then number 2, never let your guard down. There were 2 times, both times when we got a 2 possession lead tonight, I thought we had it in the bag. And both times the Raiders struck back hard. The first, it was on that trick play where they had gotten nothing going, practically nothing going on rushing offense. And then the trick play, and Sullivan Garrett took it in 42 yards, and they're right back in the game. It's 1 possession game again. Then, when we get the 20-6 lead, and again, I think we've got it won. Then we lose that fumble, and then on the next play, they're right back in it. So, Harrison got a touchdown on 2 consecutive offensive plays, 14 seconds apart, and it goes from 20-7 to 20-20. Now, we did come back and get 2 touchdowns of our own, but even then, then Harrison came back again and cut it to 1 possession and got the ball back, albeit with 96 yards to go. But the kind of offense they have, they just completed a 72-yard touchdown pass. I mean, it was not out of the question that they were going to come back and tie it or even win with the touchdown of the two. So the moral of the story of this game: finished a lot more drives and and put the game away early, and don't let your opponent hang around and believe they can win it, because 3 times we had a 2 touchdown lead tonight, and Harrison came back, and twice they made it a 1 possession game, and then once they tied it. So and there are games where that will come back to bite you. This game, it just came to scare us. So I'd rather just be scared. But I just hope the kids will learn from those 2 lessons. The other lesson I thought I was going to be talking after that first bad snap on the first conversion attempt. I thought I was going to be talking about that after the game, but then we, you know, followed it up with 4 successful PATs. The snap was a little high on one of them, but it wasn't terrible, and we still, made it good. Um, so really glad to see Ethan Edwards hit his last 4 tonight. So a lot more to like than to dislike about this game. I give us a B- for the game, um, and like I gave us a B for last week, A- for the last 3 quarters. But hey, we're 2-0 for the 3rd consecutive year, and hopefully we'll make it 3-0 next week when we go back on the road, though not by much, only 6 miles down Indiana 267 to play a very familiar opponent. In fact, the most familiar opponent in the history of Plainfield football, the Mooresville Pioneers. We are 2 of the 3 lifelong members of the Mid-State Conference. That's been a great rivalry for a long time. Usually played on Labor Day usually played on Labor Day weekend, but um, this year played the week after the quirk in the calendars, giving us 2 consecutive Labor Day weekend games against Harrison. Um, Mooresville, they went through just some down years in the 2010s after 3 head coaches in 4 years. But then they came back strong under Mike Gillen, who took over the program in 2017. One of the living legends in Indiana high school football history. I believe he's 4th all time in wins now. And with the retirement of Bud Wright of Sheridan, he might be the winningest active coach. Gillen tonight coached his 100th game. Um, he's now 65-35 at Plainfield with their 48-0 win over Terre Haute North tonight. Um, and after beating Bloomington North 28-14 last year and moving to number 16 in the AP poll. So, after going 3-9, starting off with Plainfield in 2017, Gillen won. Um, he had 6 consecutive winning seasons for the Pioneers, including 4 sectional championships and a regional championship. Last year they fell back to 4-7, but this year, based on the 2-0 start, it looks like he's got them back on track. So we better be ready. We better play 48 minutes of good football, because Mike Gillen, the kind of coach he coached in 6 decades now here in Indiana high school football. I'm talking about being a head coach. Um, if you have any let ups, his team will be there to jump all over you. So, um, you know, we finished strong the last 2 weeks. Now next week we've got to start strong and play strong all 48 minutes. Um, Mooresville is led by senior quarterback Connor Cruz, one of the probably one of the top 5 to 10 quarterbacks in the state. He's a big college prospect. He didn't have big numbers last week. Completed 15 to 31 passes for 127 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Um, but Mike Gillen always pulls a lot of rabbits out of his hat, and obviously they put up 48 points on the board tonight. I haven't seen the stats, but you can be sure that a lot of guys contributed and put up big numbers. And so, our defense, which has played for the most part very well, we played extremely well last weekend. For the most part, well tonight as well. On defense tonight, next week's going to be our toughest challenge on defense of the year. We're going to be up against a team that's put up 76 points in 2 games already, and by the way, that's only given up 14. So even though Mooresville's a 4A team, before the last 2 years when we beat them, they beat us 5 years in a row. So definitely next week's game is not one to take for granted. So anyway, hope you all will be there. Usually we get really good crowds at at Mooresville. It's practically a home game for us, only 6 miles down the road. So I hope you all will get there to cheer on these kids. They've fought their way to 2 hard-earned wins now. They haven't been perfect. They've been very good, and I think they're going to get better. We still got 7 games and close to 2 months to tune up for the tune up for the playoffs. And I think the best for this team is still to come. Um, and finally, I just want to say before I close out on a serious note, you watch the news, you're likely to get depressed. But, for 8 years now, ever since that Las Vegas shooting, I've been, closing all of my broadcasts by saying there is a difference only you can make, because I know sometimes some of us feel helpless to do anything to, stop the craziness in the world. But all of us, I want to remind all of you that no matter who you are, no matter how insignificant you feel, there is some good act that you are in position to do, some person that you're in position to help that at the moment no one else is. So if you all, I think knowing that there's a difference only you can make is very empowering, and it's inspiring, and I hope it inspires all of you to realize the power that you have to make a difference, to make the world a better place. And if we all do that thing that we're in, all do if we all do the good things that no one else is in position to do, we can, maybe we can't save the world, but we can make it a much better place than it is now. So anyway, once again, your final score here tonight at Plainfield. Your Plainfield Quakers 34, the Harrison Raiders 27. Plainfield rises to 2-0 for the third consecutive season, and Harrison drops to 1-1. Well, this concludes our broadcast. As always, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great Labor Day weekend, and I hope you'll join me again 1 week from tonight as your Plainfield Quakers visit the Mooresville Pioneers in week 3 of the season. Until then, for audiosportsonline.com, I'm Steve McAtee reminding you there is a difference only you can make.